Chapter 222. Tong Yuan was a special existence. Once Tong Yuan was brought to Samsara City to teach the soldiers spear skills, the strength of Samsara City's soldiers would be greatly improved. This was what Yi Chen valued the most. Yi Chen needed generals, but Yi Chen needed to improve the strength of Samsara City's soldiers even more. There were a few people in this world who could do this, but there were only a few of them who were at the top. Tong Yuan was one of them. "Thank you, my lord." Zhao Yun was overjoyed when he heard this and hurriedly bowed. Tong Yuan was Zhao Yun's master. Zhao Yun was not wrong to be considerate of Tong Yuan. He respected his master. However, he was still Yi Chen's subordinate. He could not bring his master to Samsara City just because of the benefits of immortal ascension. Therefore, he had to let Tong Yuan do something. Otherwise, Zhao Yun would not be able to live with himself. Now that Yi Chen did not care that Tong Yuan did not like to go to the battlefield, he solved Zhao Yun's dilemma. How could Zhao Yun not be excited? "Zilong, how about we bring your master to Samsara City after we wipe out Wuhan?" Yi Chen laughed and asked. "Yes, my lord." Zhao Yun replied loudly without hesitation. "Feng Xiao, why haven't we heard from your friends yet?" Yi Chen chuckled as he nodded. After which, he looked at Guojia and asked, "My lord, they are probably still observing." Guojia could not help but sigh when he heard Yi Chen's question. "Observing?" Yi Chen was silent for a moment. Then, he said, "So be it. I hope they won't make me wait for too long. Otherwise, they will not be fated with me." Guojia was stunned when he heard this. When he came to his senses, he hurriedly bowed and said, "My lord, you are a man of great talent and vision. You are a natural ruler. However, although the chaos is obvious, it has not completely erupted. It is normal for them to have concerns. I hope that my lord will not take it to heart. I beg that my lord give me some time. I will definitely persuade them to come and join us." When Yi Chen heard this, he couldn't help but sigh. "What I want are subordinates who follow me wholeheartedly, not people who only pay lip service. Do you understand, Feng Xiao?" Yi Chen knew that Guojia's friends were waiting to see what was going on. Yi Chen could understand that. Guojia was worried about his friends, and Yi Chen could tell that Yi Chen was worried about them. However, Yi Chen didn't care about this. What Yi Chen cared about was whether Guojia's friends were sincere in following him. If they waited until Yi Chen was strong enough to dominate a region before they came to seek refuge, even if Yi Chen accepted them, he would not place them in the center of power. "I pledge my life to follow you, my lord." Guojia hurriedly bowed and said, "Feng Xiao, don't worry. How can I not know your loyalty?" Yi Chen glared at Guojia and continued, "You can't force a melon to be sweet." Although this saying is crude, it is reasonable. Feng Xiao has already informed them that there is no need to persuade them. They just need to wait quietly. "I hope I won't have to wait too long." "Yes, my lord." Guojia was relieved when he heard this. Then, he bowed and said, "Yes, my lord." Although Guojia heaved a sigh of relief, there was still some worry and helplessness on his face. This was because his friends did not come to Samsara City immediately after receiving his letter. Guojia didn't expect this at all. Even if they didn't want to follow Yi Chen, they could have come to Samsara City to have fun. However, none of them came. They all insisted on waiting to see what would happen. Now Yi Chen was unhappy. If he had known this, he wouldn't have sent the letter. At the thought of this, Guojia sighed secretly. In Guojia's opinion, if his friends didn't choose to follow Yi Chen in the end, they would be Yi Chen's enemies. And Yi Chen's enemies were Guojia's enemies. Even if they were Guojia's friends, there was no exception. This was the fundamental reason why Guojia sighed secretly. He had no choice but to do it, because Yi Chen was Guojia's lord. Not only did he value Guojia very much, but he also gave Guojia the Huanyang elixir, sought medical treatment, and even changed his fate in order to keep Guojia alive. Guojia was moved, grateful, and willing to follow Yi Chen. Even if he died, he would have no regret. Therefore, if one day he really became enemies with his friends, Guojiao would do whatever he wanted. He wouldn't show mercy to them just because they were old friends. Clip-clop, clip-clop. The war horses moved forward slowly. Under the moonlight, Wuhuan Mountain gradually became clearer. When they were about 5 miles away from Wuhuan Mountain, the system's notification sounded. Ding! Congratulations to the Samsara Legion for comprehending the Legion technique, Unpredictable Shadow. When Yi Chen heard the system notification, he couldn't help but raise his eyebrows. Another top-notch Legion technique. Not bad, not bad. The army moved forward slowly. When Yi Chen led the 110,000 Samsara cavalrymen to the foot of the mountain, Zhao Meng led 100 men over. How is it? Have you been discovered? Yi Chen looked at Zhao Meng, who was covered in blood, and asked with a smile. My lord, the hidden sentries of Wuhuan Mountain have all been removed. No one has discovered them. Zhao Meng hurriedly bowed and replied, Well done. Yi Chen's eyes widened and he laughed. After he finished speaking, he looked at the messenger and shouted, Issue orders. Pass the order. Get off your horses and prepare to attack Wuhuan Mountain. Yes, my lord. The messenger hurriedly bowed and replied. Then, he ran off to convey Yi Chen's order. Not long after, swooshing sounds could be heard. The 110,000 reincarnation cavalry dismounted from their horses one by one, and then they took their quivers and ox-horn bows from their war horses and strapped them on. At this time, the steel and spears in their hands were also readied. Zilong, Zhao Meng. Yi Chen looked at Zhao Yun and Zhao Meng and shouted in a deep voice. Yes, my lord. Zhao Yun and Zhao Meng bowed in unison. The two of you will lead 50,000 men each. After I attack Wuhuan Mountain, attack from both sides. Remember, leave no one alive. Yi Chen looked at Wuhuan Mountain and shouted. Yes, my lord. Zhao Yun and Zhao Meng bowed in unison and replied. Then, they walked towards the Samsara army behind them. Samsara Legion, listen. At this moment, Yi Chen dismounted from his horse. With a wave of his right hand, the god-killing spear appeared. Swoosh! The soldiers of the Samsara Legion tightened their grip on their spears. Follow me! After Yi Chen finished speaking, he took the lead and rushed towards Wuhuan Mountain. Bang! 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 The Samsara Legion followed Yi Chen and rushed towards Wuhuan Mountain. Wuhuan Mountain was where the Wuhuan royal court was located. There were countless buildings built around the mountain. There was only one path up the mountain, and it was not wide. Not only was it not wide, but there were also many passes. It was easy to defend and difficult to attack. Only after passing through 10 passes would a wide path appear, and they would officially enter the Wuhuan royal court. Yi Chen led the Samsara Legion up the path up the mountain. Who's there? An inexplicably shocked roar suddenly sounded from the first pass. Chapter 223. It turned out that a Wuhuan soldier was in a hurry to relieve himself, but then he saw a dark mass of figures on the road up the mountain. Damn it, this was the Wuhuan Mountain, where the Wuhuan royal court was located. How could someone sneak up at night? It was obvious that these people did not come here with friendly intentions. Therefore, after a short moment of shock, the Wuhuan soldier shouted loudly. What are you shouting for? It's late. Don't you know how to sleep well? A reprimanding voice sounded at this moment. The Wuhuan guards at the first pass obviously didn't perform their duty properly. Because they did not expect that someone would rush here, let alone that someone would be so bold as to attack the Wuhuan royal court. Someone is here. Someone is attacking. The Wuhuan soldier hurriedly shouted when he heard this. On the path up the mountain, Yi Chen narrowed his eyes and leaped high into the air. In an instant, he was much higher than the mountain pass. Under the moonlight, Yi Chen, who was holding the Godslayer, jumped high and instantly appeared in front of the Wuhuan soldiers. The guard captain, who had just opened his mouth to reprimand him, was stunned. How is that possible? A Wuhuan soldier shouted in surprise. Because of Yi Chen's sudden appearance and Yi Chen's jump, the guard captain was shocked. In midair, Yi Chen looked at the Wuhuan soldiers in the pass and smiled coldly. Then, he slashed at the pass with the Godslayer in his right hand. A chi blade appeared in an instant and then slashed at the Wuhuan soldiers in the pass. Enemy! The guard captain, who had just come back to his senses, was shocked and hurriedly shouted. However, he stopped abruptly in the middle of his word. Poochie, Poochie, Poochie! Hundreds of bodies were cut in half in an instant. Plop, plop, plop! The expressions of the Wuhuan soldiers in the pass froze in an instant. Then, they were cut in half and fell to the ground one by one. Splash, splash! Several sounds were heard. At this moment, blood, intestines, and internal organs also flowed out of the bodies of hundreds of Wuhuan soldiers. The smell of blood immediately rose. Bang! There was a loud sound. Yi Chen landed on the mountain pass and stabbed the Godslayer in his right hand at the gate. Boom! A loud sound was heard. The seemingly sturdy gate actually exploded into powder in an instant. The Samsara Legion rushed to the bottom of the pass and followed Yi Chen up. The change in the first checkpoint attracted the attention of the second checkpoint. Although they were used to being lazy, they could still hear such a loud shout. When they saw Yi Chen and the Samsara Legion charging towards them, they were all dumbfounded. Initially, they did not expect anyone to come here because it was located deep in the Wuhuan tribe's territory. No matter who was attacking the Wuhuan clan, they would receive the news in advance, so there was nothing to worry about. Therefore, when they were on duty, they mostly drank, chatted, bragged, or slept soundly. No one cared and no one asked, because they knew that it was impossible for anyone to attack the Wuhuan mountain before they received the news. Only the Great Han Empire could attack them, but even if the Great Han Empire attacked them, they would not go deep into the Wuhuan tribe's territory. That had been the experience of countless years, and all the Wuhuan people knew that. However, the current situation undoubtedly told them one thing. This is King real. Someone really attacked Wuhuan Mountain. Not only did they come here, but they were also going to attack the Wuhuan royal court. Clang, clang, clang. The sound of a gong was heard. The Great Han Empire's army is attacking the Wuhuan Mountain. The Emperor of the Great Han Empire, Lu Hong, has sent people to attack the Wuhuan Mountain. Screams rang out from the mouths of the Wuhuan soldiers. Quick! Shoot the arrows! The captain of the guards jumped up and down and shouted at the top of his lungs. Yi Chen glanced at the Wuhuan soldiers at the second checkpoint and sneered. He raised the Godslayer in his right hand and shouted, "White Tiger battle formation! Kill! Kill! Kill!" Deafening shouts were heard. The next second, an extremely strong murderous aura appeared above the Samsara Legion and quickly condensed. Roar! An earth-shattering roar was heard. A huge white tiger appeared in the sky. What is that? A Wuhuan soldier who had just picked up a bow and arrow screamed. White tiger! That's the white tiger! Longevity heaven, where did it come from? A person stammered. I can't breathe. A person struggled to take a breath and then shouted in panic. It was late at night and the bright moon hung in the sky. Under the moonlight, the white tiger looked exceptionally cold. Its eyes were filled with extremely strong murderous intent. It was brutal, ruthless, and wanted to destroy everything. Boom! The white tiger fell to the ground and instantly enveloped Yi Chen and the Samsara Legion. Roar! After the earth-shattering roar, the white tiger leaped toward the second checkpoint. White tiger! The white tiger is charging at us! Terrified screams suddenly rang out. That white tiger that was over 100 meters tall and incomparably huge and real gave people a shock that was too intense. In particular, the white tiger carried an extremely strong murderous intent, and its eyes were filled with coldness, brutality, and a gaze that wanted to destroy everything. Fear, terror, and even their souls began to tremble. These were the feelings of the Wuhuan soldiers at the checkpoint. In their hearts, they did not have the slightest thought of resistance. All they thought of was how to survive. However, just as the thought of living appeared in their minds, the white tiger that pounced over instantly turned into a stream of light and disappeared in a flash. Bang bang bang! A series of explosions were heard. The Wuhuan soldiers guarding the second checkpoint all turned into a cloud of blood mist without exception. The checkpoint that had been erected on the mountain path also disappeared. The stream of light disappeared and the white tiger appeared. It leaped again and charged toward the third checkpoint as a stream of light under the horrified gazes of the Wuhuan soldiers. Bang bang bang! Bang bang bang! A series of explosions were heard again and again. The Wuhuan soldiers on the mountain path and the checkpoints they guarded disappeared one by one. What was left was only a cloud of blood mist mixed with stone powder. When the last checkpoint turned into dust, Zhao Yun and Zhao Meng, who had been waiting for a long time at the foot of the mountain, opened their eyes at the same time and shouted, "Kill! Kill! Kill! Kill!" Deafening shouts were heard immediately. At this time, Zhao Yun and Zhao Meng each led 50,000 samsara soldiers and rushed up the mountain path. Halfway up the mountain, Yi Chen, who had rushed up, glanced at the rows of walls built against the mountain above, and then looked at the Wuhuan royal court inside the walls. Destroy the Wuhuan royal court tonight. Thinking of this, Yi Chen narrowed his eyes and shouted, "Kill!" The next second, a deafening roar was heard again. Roar. Chapter 224. Two-World Stone, used to travel between two worlds. Do not use it carelessly. The introduction was very simple, but Yi Chen was very excited. In his previous life, Yi Chen had seen someone bring a character from the game to the real world. F***ck, that freakish strength made many people jealous to death. If it was just a character from the Three Kingdoms, it would be fine. But that person brought a character from the Eldritch Land. Although it wasn't strong enough to crush everything, it was enough to make that person an overlord. Back then, Yi Chen's subordinates, Zhao Yu, Zhao Meng, Zhao Heng, and Zhao Yu, said that they would go to the real world to protect Yi Chen. Yi Chen also said that they lacked something important. That thing was the Two-World Stone. With the Two-World Stone, he could bring his subordinates to the real world. Therefore, Yi Chen was very excited when he saw the Two-World Stone. Not only could the Two-World Stone be used by people in the game world, it could also be used by people in the real world. Do not use it carelessly was a warning to the players, because if they chose to use the Two-World Stone, they could enter the game world physically. That way, their strength would increase by 100%. However, there were gains and losses. If their physical body entered the game world and died, their soul would scatter and they would die completely. There would be no chance of resurrection. In Yi Chen's previous life, someone had done this. His strength increased rapidly, but he was quickly killed and completely died. Damn, luckily there was an introduction, otherwise, he might have thrown the Two-World Stone away like a broken stone. Now that he had the Two-World Stone, who should he bring to the real world? When Yi Chen thought of this, a name instantly appeared in Yi Chen's mind. Dian Wei. The real world was more dangerous than the Three Kingdoms. There were no soldiers there. Absolute strength was needed. Therefore, Zhao Yu, Diaochan, Zhao Heng, and Guo Jia were not suitable. Although Guo Jia was a historical figure and a top-notch historical official, he was just trash in terms of combat ability. In the real world, he was useless. Big. As for Zhao Yu and Diaochan, there was no need to even think about them. Although the two women were beautiful, their beauty could not allow them to kill demonic beasts, nor could they kill enemies with evil intentions. Zhao Heng was even less suitable. He didn't have any martial arts skills and was an old man. It would be better to bring Zhao Yu or Diaochan instead of him. As for Zhao Meng, although he was in the Xiantian realm, he had also become a king-level general. However, compared to Dian Wei's saint-rank generals, they were still lacking. There was no telling when Dian Wei would return to the Samsara city. Thinking up to this point, Yi Chen let out a long sigh and walked towards the back of the residence. The huge city lord's mansion now had 3 entrances and 3 exits. The area it occupied had expanded by 10 times. The decorations that had been set up were not enough again. Although he had found some maids, it was still not enough for the current city lord's mansion. However, Yi Chen knew about this, but he would not care about it. He would leave it to Zhao Yu to deal with. When he arrived at the back of the residence, Yi Chen did not look at the small buildings that had been added. He went straight to the main residence. As soon as he arrived at the living room, Yi Chen heard the cheerful laughter of Zhao Yu and Diaochan. Obviously, the 2 women had made up at some point. Yi Chen remembered that when the 2 women met for the first time, they were at loggerheads with each other. When Zhao Yu saw Yi Chen, she hurriedly got up and shouted happily, "My husband, my lord." Diaochan was slightly stunned and then called with a smile. Yi Chen nodded. When he was about to speak, he suddenly saw the silver hairpin in Zhao Yu's hair. After a slight pause, he could not help but pat his forehead in annoyance. "There have been too many things recently. I neglected you. Wait a moment." Yi Chen looked at Zhao Yu apologetically. Then, with a wave of his right hand, 100 boxes of jewelry appeared in the living room. Fortunately, the living room was big enough. Otherwise, it would not be able to fit them all. Zhao Yu looked at the 100 boxes that suddenly appeared. She could not help but be stunned. Then, she looked at Yi Chen and asked doubtfully, "My husband, this is?" "Open it and see if you like it," Yi Chen said with a smile. He did not tell Zhao Yu what was in the boxes. Zhao Yu nodded. Then, she stepped forward and opened a box curiously. The moment the lid was opened, the entire living room lit up instantly. These are all?" Zhao Yu was stunned. Then, she looked at Yi Chen and asked. Yi Chen nodded with a smile and said, "They are all for you. Do you like them?" "I like them." Zhao Yu nodded vigorously and said with a happy face. Women's resistance to jewelry was almost 0. This was the same whether it was in ancient times or modern times. "It's good that you like them," Yi Chen said with a smile. "My lord, Diaochan doesn't have much jewelry," Diaochan said with some grievance at this time. "Sister, come and choose. If you like them, you can choose a box." Zhao Yu heard this and immediately looked at Diaochan and said, "Thank you, sister." Diaochan suddenly smiled happily and ran over to choose jewelry. Yi Chen looked at the 2 women who had ulterior motive. The corners of his mouth could not help but curl up. As long as they were harmonious, it was fine to play some tricks. In fact, how could Yi Chen not see Zhao Yu's declaration of sovereignty and Diaochan's intention to obey? Although he knew, he could not say it out loud. This was a woman's thought. Yi Chen would not get involved in this. The next day, Yi Chen woke up early at dawn. He looked at Diaochan, who was sleeping soundly in his arms, and could not help but smile. Then, he got up and put on his clothes and left the backyard. Last night, Zhao Yu forced Diaochan to stay. Then, Diaochan became Yi Chen's second woman. Yi Chen saw clearly and understood the 2 women's trick. However, Yi Chen still did not expose them. For this kind of thing, Yi Chen preferred to be muddled. City Lord Mansion, front yard, living room. As soon as Yi Chen arrived, he saw Guojia and Zhao Meng, who were already waiting here. "Greetings, my lord." Guojia and Zhao Meng saw Yi Chen enter the house and bowed together. "Thank you for your hard work during this period." Yi Chen smiled and nodded. Then, he looked at Zhao Meng and said, "This is my duty. It's not hard at all." Zhao Meng felt a warmth in his heart as he replied. Yi Chen patted Zhao Meng on the shoulder and asked, "Is everything ready?" "Yes, my lord. We can set off at any time." Zhao Meng nodded. "Very good. This time, we will bury the Wuhuan cavalry in the reincarnation forest." Yi Chen's eyes suddenly widened. A cold glint flashed across his eyes. "Sorry, it took so long to send the message. It should have been sent at 11 o'clock, but the power switch tripped because of the water in the plug. Sadly, it could not be saved. Fortunately, the computer did not burn out." Chapter 225. This scream was like a lit fuse, instantly igniting the fear in the hearts of all the Wuhuan soldiers on the wall. Whoosh! The Wuhuan soldiers on the wall instantly gave up resistance and rushed down the wall in panic. However, only a small number of soldiers on both sides of the wall rushed down. The rest were killed by the Samsara Legion on the spot. The Wuhuan soldiers who fled down the wall rushed to the gate of the second wall. They wanted to leave here, away from the terrifying Great Han elite soldiers, away from the Great Han general who made their souls tremble. Yi Chen! Bastard! Open the door! Open the door! Open the door! Damn it, I want to go in! Please, open the door for us! Bang! 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 They smashed the city gate while shouting loudly. Some even wailed and begged their compatriots to open the door. Panic, fear, and a desire to live were their thoughts at this moment. However, no matter how they shouted or cried for help, the gate of the second wall did not open. At this moment, the Samsara Legion quickly gathered around Yi Chen. Yi Chen glanced at the second wall, raised the Godslayer in his right hand, and shouted, "White Tiger Formation! Kill! Kill! Kill!" Deafening battle cries rang out immediately. A murderous aura stronger and more violent than before appeared in an instant and soared into the sky. The next second, the huge white tiger that was 100 meters tall appeared again. Roar! A deafening roar rang out. Hiss! The sound of people sucking in cold breaths could be heard from the second city wall. The Wuhuan soldiers and generals there couldn't help but tremble. They were afraid that they would be killed by Yi Chen and the Samsara Legion like those on the first wall. At this moment, the white tiger's ruthless tiger eyes glanced at the Wuhuan soldiers and generals on the second wall, then fell straight to the ground, enveloping Yi Chen and the Samsara Legion. It landed! It's going to attack us! General, what should we do? What should we do? The soldiers on the second wall all trembled, and then they all began to shout in a sharp voice. Attack! Attack! Quick! Release the arrows! A Wuhuan general swallowed his saliva and then roared. However, at this moment, the white tiger suddenly leaped and turned into a ray of flowing light, heading straight for the gate of the second city wall. Boom! The city gate instantly exploded into dust. The Wuhuan soldiers who had blocked the city gate and wanted to enter the second city wall also turned into a bloody mist in an instant. The Wuhuan soldiers who were about to attack shuddered involuntarily. The same thing had happened at the first city wall. Just as they recalled that scene, the white tiger leaped and went straight up the city wall. Kill! Yi Chen roared as he swung the Godslayer in his right hand mercilessly. Buzz! The chi blade appeared and instantly killed hundreds of people. At this moment, the Samsara Legion once again started its merciless harvesting mode. After clearing out a group of people with one blow, Yi Chen rushed straight to the Wuhuan generals on the city wall and killed them on the spot in a few breaths of time. They were a threat to the Samsara Legion, so Yi Chen naturally could not let them live. Poochie poochie! The Wuhuan soldiers were constantly killed by the Samsara Legion. Corpses began to pile up on the city wall and blood began to flow everywhere. Miserable howls, screams, and pleas for mercy sounded in waves. However, they were answered by the merciless attacks of the Samsara Legion. Yi Chen's martial strength was superb, and the Samsara Legion's combat strength was shocking. Furthermore, they were supported by the White Tiger battle formation. How could the Wuhuan soldiers resist? I surrender! I surrender! Don't kill me! I beg you, don't kill me! Poochie poochie! Go directly to the imperial court. Chanyu is there. Poochie poochie! The Wuhuan soldiers tried all kinds of methods to survive, but without exception, they were all killed on the spot. Because Yi Chen had ordered not to leave anyone alive. Therefore, the Samsara Legion carried out the order with all their might and did not give them a chance to beg for mercy. Moreover, killing all the Wuhuan soldiers on the city wall also opened up a safe passage for the Samsara army behind them. The city gate was easy to break, but there were still Wuhuan soldiers on the city wall. If they did not kill them all, the Samsara army would be in danger. Above the city wall and below the city wall were two different concepts. This was also the fundamental reason why Yi Chen ordered not to leave anyone alive. When the Wuhuan soldiers and generals on the second wall were all cleared out, Yi Chen looked at the third wall and shouted, "Let's go! White Tiger battle formation! Kill! Kill! Kill!" After the earth-shattering roar, the White Tiger appeared again and then turned into a stream of light and rushed to the third city wall. Boom! 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 One city wall after another was broken by Yi Chen, and all the Wuhuan soldiers on the city wall were killed. The third city wall, the fourth city wall, until the 10th city wall was broken by Yi Chen. Yi Chen appeared in the Wuhuan imperial court with the Samsara Legion. Ding! Congratulations to the Samsara Legion for comprehending the army skill, move like thunder. The system's prompt sounded when Yi Chen officially stepped into the Wuhuan imperial court. Hearing the system's prompt, Yi Chen raised his eyebrows. He finally comprehended it completely. Samsara Legion, one and only special army grade. S number 10-000 Army Battle Formation, White Tiger Battle Formation, Innate Battle Formation, Army Skills. Swift as wind, slow as forest, aggressive as fire, immovable as mountain, unpredictable as move like thunder. Thinking of this, Yi Chen looked to the front. There stood a dense number of Wuhuan soldiers. They looked at Yi Chen and the Samsara Legion, who were charging over, with horror in their eyes. They had never thought that an army could transform into a white tiger and kill people. They had never thought that the great Han Empire would have such a powerful general and elite army. This was the Wuhuan Imperial Court. There were 2 Wuhuan generals and 50,000 Wuhuan soldiers on each city wall. However, such a powerful guard force was killed until their blood flowed like a river, and miserable howls filled the sky. The enemy only had 1 general and 10,000 soldiers. Who are you? Why are you attacking the Wuhuan Imperial Court? A muffled roar sounded at this moment. At first glance, the voice sounded angry and suppressed, but the panic and fear contained in it could not be hidden. Yi Chen looked in the direction of the voice, narrowed his eyes, and shouted, "Great Han Empire, General Pacifying North, Yi Chen?" Wow! As soon as Yi Chen finished speaking, the Wuhuan soldiers were instantly in an uproar. It's really a general of the Great Han Empire. We shouldn't have participated in the rebellion. The Great Han Emperor sent a peerless general over and even killed his way into the imperial court. What should we do? I don't want to die. If he turns into a white tiger, then we will all die. Chapter 226. The Wuhuan soldiers discussed with each other, their words full of panic and fear. They had been frightened by the ferocity of the White Tiger and the strength of Yi Chen and the Samsara Legion. They did not even have the courage to resist. The middle-aged man standing at the entrance of the palace of the Wuhuan royal court naturally heard the discussion of his men. His face was livid, but there was nothing he could do. He did not dare to get angry or order his men to attack Yi Chen because he was afraid that Yi Chen would summon the White Tiger again. If that happened, his men and himself would not be enough to kill. He was very sure of this. Even if he was the Wuhuan Chanyu or Qiuliju, he would not be able to stop the ferocious White Tiger. Qiuliju tried to calm himself down, then looked at Yi Chen and said in a deep voice, "General Pingbei, the Wuhuan tribe has always been a vassal state of the Great Han Empire. We are loyal to His Majesty. I am going to Luoyang tomorrow to present the treasure to His Majesty. Why are you attacking us?" How could Yi Chen not know that Qiuliju was lying through his teeth? The Wuhuan tribe had followed Zhang Chun in the rebellion. Not long after the rebellion, they immediately denied it. If they were not thick-skinned to a certain extent, they would not be able to say that. Yi Chen curled his lips in disdain and then shouted, "Cut the crap! Cut the crap! Your ambitions have already infuriated His Majesty. That's why he sent me to quell the rebellion in Yuzhou. Furthermore, His Majesty personally appointed you to be killed. Qiuliju, what else do you have to say? Yi Chen also knew how to lie through his teeth. Qiuliju's face changed drastically, and his body trembled a few times. Qiuliju's body trembled. He was really frightened. He had not expected that Lu Hong would want to kill him. In the past, Lu Hong had sent troops to beat him up many times, but they could not do anything to him because he was the Wuhuan Chanyu and lived in the depths of the grassland. In the end, the army of the Great Han Empire returned empty-handed. Even if there were powerful generals, they would be recalled by Lu Hong halfway through the battle. Because he would soon hand over the letter of surrender, Lu Hong would be greatly pleased and accept his surrender. He would also give him a lot of treasures. But now Yi Chen was here. Not only was he here, but he had also killed his way into the Wuhuan royal court. Then, he told him that Lu Hong wanted him dead. How could he not be afraid? This was completely different from what he had thought, which was that he would be fine as long as he surrendered. Impossible! His Majesty would never give such an order. Qiuliju roared with a ferocious expression. Nothing is impossible. I'm here. This is the proof. Yi Chen sneered and shouted. No. You privately mobilized your troop. Yes, that must be it. You privately mobilized your troop. I want to go to Luoyang. I want to see His Majesty. I'm going to sue you. Qiuliju's expression changed again and again when he heard this, and then he screamed. Ridiculous! Yi Chen looked at Qiuliju with disdain. Then, he shouted, Qiuliju, do you dare to fight me? Kill! 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 The Samsara Corps raised their spears in unison and roared. Wow! The Wuhuan soldiers were so frightened by the strong fighting spirit of the Samsara Legion that they took 3 steps back. Qiuliju, who was standing in front of the main hall, was shocked when he heard Yi Chen's challenge. Damn it, you can't be so shameless. You're so strong, but you want to fight me, an emperor-level general. What the F***ck? Qiuliju felt bitter. He didn't want to accept the challenge because he didn't dare. He really didn't dare. He knew very well that if he accepted the challenge, he wouldn't be able to last more than 3 moves under Yi Chen's spear. He had seen how domineering, unreasonable, and powerful Yi Chen was. He didn't dare to fight Yi Chen in front of the army. But if he didn't accept the challenge, he would lose face. Even if he wanted to, he wouldn't be able to. 1 breath, 2 breaths, 3 breaths. Qiuliju was still struggling. The Wuhuan soldiers in the royal court looked at each other. Their morale dropped by a lot. They were already scared and needed someone to cheer them on. But their chief, Qiuliju, was so scared by Yi Chen that he didn't dare to speak. This was a big blow to the Wuhuan soldiers. Qiuliju was still struggling when he saw the morale of his soldiers drop again and again. His face twisted. In the next second, Qiuliju turned his head and looked at the generals beside him. Didn't you hear? General Pingbei wants to challenge you. As warriors of the Wuhuan tribe, how can we not accept the challenge? All of you attack. Damn it, how can you say something so shameless? You're really something. Yi Chen looked at the righteous Qiuliju and curled his lips in disdain. As for what Qiuliju said, Yi Chen didn't take it to heart at all. So what if they had more people? Yi Chen was confident that he could defeat everyone in the beginner's area of the 3 kingdoms. The 9 revolutions mystic art wasn't something that could be defeated by ordinary martial art. Yi Chen's physical body alone was so strong that it made people despair. Without a heaven-grade weapon or a divine-grade martial art skill, it was impossible to hurt Yi Chen. Not to mention, Yi Chen also had the Khanate spiritual treasure Fire Spirit Pearl, Khanate skills, and the reincarnation spear art. In this world, any one of them was an existence that transcended the mortal world. If they wanted to defeat Yi Chen, they had to first break Yi Chen's defense and block Yi Chen's attack. There were only a few people who could do this. At this moment, none of the generals in the Wuhuan royal court, including Qiuliju, could do this. Yi Chen was very confident about this. However, there were too many Wuhuan generals here. If Yi Chen didn't kill them all, the soldiers of the Samsara Legion would definitely be in danger. This was also the main reason why Yi Chen chose to fight one-on-one. Thinking of this, Yi Chen pointed his Godslayer at the Wuhuan generals and shouted, "Come at me together. It'll save me the trouble." The Wuhuan generals were already tempted by Qiu Liju's shameless words. However, they didn't dare to move. Because Yi Chen was talking about Qiu Liju. If they attacked and Yi Chen summoned the white tiger again, they would be killed instantly. Even the heavy city gate couldn't withstand the white tiger's attack. How strong could their bodies be? But now Yi Chen asked them to attack together, which stunned them. Damn it, they had seen stupid people before, but they had never seen such a stupid person. One person challenging 100 generals, the weakest of whom was an emperor-level general. Was he showing off, or was he too confident? However, the 100 Wuhuan generals quickly regarded Yi Chen's decision as the former. They thought that Yi Chen was showing off, and it was a big show. "General Pingbei, don't summon the white tiger if you have the guts!" Qiu Liju shouted as he looked at Yi Chen with shining eyes. "Cut the crap. You're just a bunch of trash. I can kill all of you without the white tiger." Yi Chen sneered and shouted. The 100 Wuhuan generals' expressions changed when they heard this. They looked at each other and shouted in unison. "Go! Kill him!" Chapter 227. Bang! 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 The 100 Wuhuan generals jumped up in unison, stepped on the shoulders of the Wuhuan soldiers, and rushed to the front of the formation. Kill! 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 Seeing this, the low morale of the Wuhuan soldiers instantly soared, and they shouted excitedly. In their opinion, Yi Chen was not showing off. He was courting death. Damn it, even a good dog could not fight against a pack of wolves. No matter how awesome and powerful he was, how could he defeat 100 generals? Obviously not. Therefore, the Wuhuan soldiers roared excitedly one by one. As long as their generals could kill Yi Chen on the spot or even capture him. If that was the case, that terrifying white tiger would never appear again. And they would have the courage to fight against the powerful Samsara Legion. They were afraid of Yi Chen because Yi Chen was tyrannical, overbearing, and cruel. But what they were more afraid of was the white tiger. As long as they killed Yi Chen or captured Yi Chen, the white tiger they were afraid of would not appear again. What was there to be afraid of? Yi Chen looked at the 100 Wuhuan generals rushing to the front and sneered. "Die, all of you!" After saying that, Yi Chen stomped on the ground with his right foot. Bang! A loud sound immediately rang out. The rocky ground on the ground exploded in an instant. At this moment, Yi Chen quickly shot towards the Wuhuan generals. "Kill! Kill!" 100 furious roars came out of the mouths of the Wuhuan generals. At this moment, they waved their weapons in unison and hacked at Yi Chen fiercely. Buzz! 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 The sound of air being torn apart was heard. 100 chi blades condensed from Kanei true chi instantly cut towards Yi Chen. Yi Chen curled his lips in disdain. Not only did he not change the direction of his charge, but he also did not even bother to dodge. Seeing Yi Chen's arrogance, the generals of the Wu Huan army burst into wild laughter. "Ha ha ha, stupid General Pingbei. Today is the day you die. General Pingbei, continue like this if you have the guts. Don't dodge. Ha ha, die, die." The Wuhuan generals were excited, and so were the soldiers. He had seen stupid people before, but he had never seen such a stupid person. That was a chi blade condensed from Xiantian chi, and there was actually someone who dared to take it head-on. Wasn't that just courting death? However, Yi Chen's expression did not change at all. The Samsara Legion also did not exclaim because of this. Die! Die! When Qiu Liju saw that Yi Chen was really going to take the chi blade head-on, his eyes lit up. At this moment, Yi Chen's left hand suddenly made a swatting motion, just like how one would swat a fly. Poo, piu, piu. A series of dull sounds rang out. The 100 chi blades instantly dissipated after coming into contact with Yi Chen's left hand. Then, they turned into a cloud of gas and disappeared without a trace. Hua! The excited Wuhuan soldiers were all stunned. Then, they revealed expressions of disbelief. How is that possible? How is that possible? How could he just casually slap away my chi blade? His hand is not injured. How is that possible? I don't believe it. Why? How could he do that? I'm an emperor-level general. An emperor-level general. I don't believe it. Seeing this, the Wuhuan generals all trembled and then shouted in shock. Impossible! How is that possible? Even a saint-level general can't ignore the chi blade of Xiantian Qi. Qiu Liju's eyes widened as he roared at the top of his lungs. At this moment, Yi Chen had already approached the Wuhuan generals. He suddenly opened his eyes and shouted, "Die!" After shouting, Yi Chen waved the Godslayer in his right hand. Buzz, buzz, buzz. There was a violent explosion in the air instantly. In the next second, a slender chi blade flew out from the tip of the Godslayer and cut towards the 100 Wuhuan generals in front of him. Oh no! Dodge! A Wuhuan general's eyes suddenly shrank, and then he screamed. However, it was too late. Yi Chen's chi blade was extremely fast. In an instant, it had reached the side of the Wuhuan generals. Sizzle, sizzle, sizzle. Nearly 100 bodies were torn apart in an instant. Woo, woo, woo. Dozens of sounds were heard, and more than 30 heads flew into the air in an instant. Sizzle, sizzle, sizzle. More than 30 pillars of blood spurted out. Bang, bang, bang. More than 60 halves of bodies fell to the ground. Only 2 dumbfounded Wuhuan generals were left on the spot. Their faces were full of shock, and their eyes were full of disbelief. The ones Yi Chen had killed were all Wuhuan generals. The weakest of them was an emperor-level general with Xiantian true qi in their bodies. However, Yi Chen had still managed to kill 98 of them with one strike. How could this be? A Wuhuan general's eyes shrank again, and then he shouted in a trembling voice. I don't believe it. The other surviving Wuhuan general gulped before he exclaimed in shock. I don't believe it. At this moment, Yi Chen's right foot stepped on the ground again. After a loud bang, Yi Chen instantly rushed to the 2 remaining Wuhuan generals. The Godslayer in his right hand pierced out mercilessly. The 2 remaining Wuhuan generals came to their senses at the same time, and then they were shocked and hurriedly jumped to dodge. However, at this moment, the Godslayer's spearhead suddenly turned into 100 and sealed their bodies in an instant. Puff, puff, puff. A series of body-piercing sounds were heard in an instant. The 2 Wuhuan generals, without exception, had dozens of thick holes in their bodies. Bang, bang. With 2 sounds, the bodies of the 2 Wuhuan generals that had been stabbed into pieces suddenly exploded into countless pieces. Blood mixed with pieces of flesh, broken bones, and internal organs instantly drenched the front row of Wuhuan soldiers. Yi Chen swung the Godslayer, curled his lips in disdain, and then looked coldly at Qiu Liju, who was behind the Wuhuan soldiers. Thump, thump, thump. At this time, the Wuhuan soldiers took a few steps back in unison. They were frightened by Yi Chen, even if Yi Chen just glanced at them. Originally, they thought that Yi Chen would definitely die. At the very least, they would capture him alive. But the result was completely opposite. Not only was Yi Chen fine, but he had also tyrannically killed all the Wuhuan generals. The Wuhuan soldiers had never seen such a tyrannical person. They didn't even think about it. But today, Yi Chen's domineering performance undoubtedly told them one thing. Tyrannical, overbearing, and invincible. He was really not a legend, and they had seen such a person with their own eyes today. A plop sound was heard. Qiu Liju, who was in front of the Wuhuan palace, fell to the ground. Panic was written all over his face. He couldn't believe that Yi Chen was not only fine, but also directly killed all his men. And now Yi Chen's eyes were fixed on him. He was afraid of being killed by Yi Chen. He didn't want to die. Chapter 228. Just as Wu Huan Chanyu Qiu was panicking in fear, a deafening shout rang out. Long live the Lord! Long live the Lord! Long live the Lord! At this moment, the Samsara Legion raised their spears and roared in excitement. Yi Chen was their lord. He was so tyrannical and invincible. They were all excited and proud from the bottom of their hearts. The Samsara Legion's blood was boiling at this moment. Their already high morale rose again and again. Qiu Liju naturally heard the cheers of the Samsara Legion, but he was not excited at all. He was only afraid. He gritted his teeth, then stood up, looked at Yi Chen, and shouted, "General Ping Bei, I surrender! The entire Wuhuan tribe submits to you." His voice was filled with helplessness. That was because the remaining million soldiers of the Wuhuan tribe were all here, and he had surrendered in front of all of them. From now on, he would lose all his dignity. It would be impossible for him to be the Chanyu anymore, and he would have to obey Yi Chen's orders. He was unwilling, but he had to surrender because he did not want to die. Yi Chen had single-handedly defeated 100 generals and was unscathed. He could even summon the White Tiger. He did not have the courage to fight back. Even though there were still 1 million Wuhuan soldiers here, he could not muster the slightest bit of courage. That was because although the million Wuhuan soldiers seemed to have a lot of numbers, they had no morale at all. Moreover, they were all panicking. How could they pick up their weapons and fight against Yi Chen? Thus, he chose to surrender. Furthermore, he was surrendering to Yi Chen and not Lu Hong. That was because Yi Chen had said that he was ordered to come here and kill Qiu Liju. Qiu Liju naturally would not say anything about surrendering to Lu Hong. In his opinion, everyone was selfish, and Yi Chen was no exception. Not only was he selfish, but he was also ambitious. That was because Yi Chen was powerful and invincible. He also had a group of powerful subordinates. It was impossible for him not to be ambitious. The million soldiers of the Wuhuan tribe were very useful, so Yi Chen would definitely accept his surrender. That way, Yi Chen's strength would increase rapidly. In the future, Yi Chen could use the Wuhuan soldiers wherever he wanted to fight. When Yi Chen heard this, he glanced at Qiu Liju, then curled his lips in disdain and said, "I refuse." Qiu Liju was stunned when he heard this. Then, he shouted in shock, How can you refuse?" His face was filled with disbelief. No matter how he thought about it, he never thought that Yi Chen would actually reject his surrender. "Why can't I refuse? His Majesty has ordered me to quell the rebellion. You are someone that His Majesty said must be killed. Do you think that you can still live?" Yi Chen raised his eyebrows and asked. When Qiu Liju heard this, his expression changed drastically. He pointed at Yi Chen and roared, "I am the Wuhuan Chanyu. There are 1 million Wuhuan warriors here. You don't want them?" How could Yi Chen not understand the trap in Qiu Liju's words? Qiu Liju wanted to use the million Wuhuan soldiers as a last resort. Thinking of this, Yi Chen raised his eyebrows and shouted, "What a bunch of trash! What's the use of taking them?" In Yi Chen's eyes, these people were doomed to die. Killing them could be exchanged for the mission reward. If he took them, he would have to divide his forces to guard them. The gains did not make up for the losses, because soon the Yellow Turban Rebellion would break out. Dividing his forces to guard the million Wuhuan prisoners of war was pure nonsense. The Wuhuan soldiers were in an uproar. Not only did Yi Chen refuse Qiu Liju's surrender, but he also described them as trash and did not intend to accept their surrender. How could they remain quiet? How could this be? A Wuhuan soldier shouted in disbelief. He did not expect that he would be refused even if he surrendered. He's going to kill us all. What do we do? What do we do? I don't want to die. The Wuhuan soldiers discussed with each other in horror. They were terrified and did not want to die, but Yi Chen's words clearly meant to kill them all. Fight! Fight them! Even if we die, we have to kill at least one. Besides, there are 1,000,000 of us. We can exhaust him to death even if we let him kill us." A Wuhuan soldier suddenly roared ferociously. "Yes. Fight them to the death. Even if we die, we have to bite off a piece of his flesh. He won't accept our surrender and still wants to kill us. We are not made of mud. We are the warriors of the Wuhuan. Kill them." At this moment, the Wuhuan soldiers finally felt the urge to resist. They glared fiercely at Yi Chen and the Samsara Legion behind Yi Chen. Yi Chen saw this and the corners of his mouth suddenly curled up. "Damn it, if you really want to surrender, I won't kill you. Then I won't drop any equipment, techniques, or rewards. Warriors of the Wuhuan, pick up your weapons and kill them for me. Kill these despicable Han people." An angry roar suddenly sounded. It was Qiu Liju. He pulled out the curved sword hanging from his waist and shouted loudly. "Kill them! Kill them!" The Wuhuan soldiers' hearts were instantly ignited. They picked up the weapons in their hands and aimed at Yi Chen and the Samsara Legion behind Yi Chen. However, no one dared to be the first to attack, because Yi Chen was standing between the two armies. None of the Wuhuan soldiers dared to face Yi Chen because Yi Chen was too cruel, too arrogant, and too abnormally powerful. Swoosh! The Samsara Legion raised their guns and pointed them at the Wuhuan soldiers. A violent, murderous aura instantly rose. At this moment, 2 loud shouts were suddenly heard. "My lord! Zhao Yun is here! My lord! Zhao Meng is here!" Bang! 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 Hurried footsteps were heard immediately. Then, they saw Zhao Yun and Zhao Meng, each leading 50,000 Samsara soldiers, rushing here from the left and right. That's the same equipment. They are as powerful as these people." A sharp-eyed Wuhuan soldier suddenly froze and then screamed. How can we fight? I don't want to die. Tingri, save me, save me." Groups of Wuhuan soldiers immediately screamed when they saw Zhao Yun and Zhao Meng leading their troops here and saw the equipment on the Samsara soldiers. The courage they had just summoned disappeared without a trace in an instant. The Samsara Legion led by Yi Chen was exactly the same as the Samsara soldiers led by Zhao Yun and Zhao Meng. This also gave the Wuhuan soldiers an illusion that the new Samsara soldiers were at the same level as the Samsara Legion and had the same amazing combat strength. In reality, that was not the case. However, how could Yi Chen's side tell them that? Qiu Liju, who was standing in front of the imperial court palace, was also frightened when Zhao Yun and Zhao Meng led their troops here. He originally thought that he could take the opportunity to escape when the whole army attacked. One had to know that Yi Chen had led 10,000 Samsara Legion soldiers and killed so many Wuhuan corpses. Now that 100,000 soldiers suddenly appeared, his chances of escaping were greatly reduced. How could he not be afraid? Thinking of this, Qiu Liju's face suddenly twisted. He didn't want to die. He wanted to live. The next second, Qiu Liju roared angrily. "I'm afraid I'll die. What's there to be afraid of? Go. They don't have that many people. Go. Kill them. The Wuhuan tribe is the strongest." Chapter 229. As soon as Qiu Liju finished speaking, the Wuhuan soldiers, who had been frightened just now, were once again inspired to fight desperately. The enemy did not accept their surrender and clearly wanted to kill them. What was the use of being afraid? They were still going to die. The Wuhuan soldiers were breathing heavily and their eyes were bloodshot. They were going to fight desperately. "We're going to die anyway. Go. Kill them." A Wuhuan soldier roared ferociously. "Yes. Go. Fight." Yi Chen sneered and pointed the Godslayer at the Wuhuan army. "Kill. Don't leave a single one alive. Kill. Kill. Kill." Deafening battle cries rang out instantly. Bang! There was a loud noise. Yi Chen stomped on the ground with his right foot and shot out in an instant. In the blink of an eye, he rushed into the crowd of Wuhuan soldiers. As soon as Yi Chen got close, the godslayer in his right hand began to harvest ruthlessly. With a swing of the spear, hundreds of Wuhuan soldiers were cut into pieces. Sizzle, sizzle. Swathes of Wuhuan soldiers were killed in an instant. At this moment, the Samsara Legion also charged forward with Yi Chen. They held spears in their hands and stabbed at anyone they saw, showing no mercy. Puff, puff, puff. The Samsara Legion harvested the lives of the Wuhuan soldiers as if they were wheat. After 10 minutes, more than 50,000 Wuhuan soldiers were killed, and more than half of them were killed by Yi Chen. Yi Chen was at the peak of the Xiantian realm, so he had a lot of Xiantian true qi in his body. Not only was there a lot, but it was also extremely pure. Therefore, Yi Chen could use Xiantian true qi to kill enemies more than 10 times longer than people of the same realm. The Wuhuan soldiers, who had just been provoked to fight desperately, were dumbfounded in an instant. 50,000 corpses covered the ground in the time it took to brew a cup of tea. That scene was simply too stimulating. What was even more terrifying was that more than half of the corpses here had been sliced into pieces. Blood was flowing, and intestines and organs were scattered on the ground. Some of the corpses were twitching, some were bleeding, and some were wailing and crying, waiting for death to come. An atmosphere of panic instantly appeared in the hearts of all the Wuhuan soldiers. At this time, Zhao Yun and Zhao Meng arrived with their troop. More and more Wuhuan soldiers were killed on the spot. Although Zhao Yun and Zhao Meng were not as cruel as Yi Chen, they were still able to kill people in droves. What was even more frightening was that the newly arrived 100,000 Samsara soldiers rushed forward like a tide. The death rate of the Wuhuan soldiers increased again. At this moment, the remaining Wuhuan soldiers finally discovered a cruel truth. Even if they went all out, it was useless. They had scimitars, while Samsara's soldiers had spears. They couldn't even get close. In a single exchange, they would be stabbed to death. How were they supposed to fight? A few seconds later, the panic in the hearts of the Wuhuan soldiers turned into fear. More and more people turned around and fled for their lives. However, this was Wuhuan Mountain. The way down the mountain had been blocked by Samsara soldiers. There was no way to escape. After discovering this, the Wuhuan soldiers began to fight desperately again. They screamed and pounced on Samsara soldiers one by one. But the result was still the same. More and more Wuhuan soldiers were mercilessly killed on the spot. After half an incense stick's worth of time, all the Wuhuan soldiers on Wuhuan Mountain were killed. The strong smell of blood began to drift in Wuhuan Mountain. The wind couldn't blow it away. There were corpses everywhere on the ground. A large amount of blood began to gather and then flowed down the mountain. It became more and more rapid and finally formed a stream of blood. As the wind blew, the armor on the Samsara soldiers rustled. All the soldiers looked at Yi Chen, who was standing in front of the gate of the Wuhuan royal palace. That was their lord, who was powerful and invincible. He had led them to conquer the Wuhuan kingdom in a single day and defeated the Wuhuan kingdom's royal court. Respect, worship, and faith were the attitudes of all the Samsara soldiers toward Yi Chen at this moment. As long as Yi Chen was there, the will of the Samsara soldiers was indestructible. Because all the soldiers firmly believed that under the leadership of their lord, Yi Chen, Samsara would be invincible and invincible. After a few breaths, there was a swish sound. 110,000 Samsara soldiers knelt on one knee and shouted at the top of their lungs, "Long live the Lord! Long live the Lord! Long live the Lord!" When Yi Chen heard this, he couldn't help but smile and then shouted, "You are all soldiers of Samsara. You are loyal and brave. This time, we broke through the Wuhuan mountain. After returning to Samsara, you will be rewarded according to your merits. Money, farmland, cultivation methods, weapons, you will get everything." When the 110,000 Samsara soldiers heard this, they were all stunned. Then their eyes suddenly widened, and they shouted excitedly one by one, "Long live the Lord! Long live the Lord!" Money and farmland were the mainstream rewards, but Yi Chen actually added cultivation methods and weapons. Of these, the most precious was none other than cultivation methods. Without exception, the soldiers were all born poor. When had they ever seen cultivation methods? All they had learned were the basic military cultivation method. Now that Yi Chen was going to reward them with cultivation methods, how could they not be excited? How could they not be excited? Yi Chen raised his hand to signal the soldiers to be quiet. When the soldiers stopped shouting, Yi Chen said, "Now, clean up the battlefield." "Yes, my lord," the Samsara soldiers answered in unison. Then they ran to pick up the equipment, cultivation methods, and other items on the ground. At this time, Zhao Yun and Zhao Meng came to Yi Chen's side and bowed in unison, saying, "My lord." Yi Chen nodded and then said with a chuckle, "Zilong, Zhao Meng, you did well." Hearing this, Zhao Yun hurriedly bowed and said, "It was all because of my lord's bravery that I was able to do it so smoothly." "Yes, my lord. Without my lord's powerful deterrence, we wouldn't have been able to do it so smoothly." Zhao Meng nodded affirmatively and then bowed. "Ha ha, let's go and meet the Wuhuan Great Chanyu." Yi Chen laughed and then said. Previously, when Yi Chen led the soldiers to kill the Wuhuan soldiers, he didn't forget to observe Qiu Liju, in case he found a secret passage or something and ran away. No one could let him run away. He was the key to the northern expedition. Only by killing him could there be better rewards. "Yes, my lord." Zhao Yun and Zhao Meng bowed in unison and then followed Yi Chen to the main hall of the Wuhuan royal court. The Wuhuan royal court was extremely luxurious. Gold objects could be seen everywhere in the main hall, and there were countless gems on them. For Yi Chen, these were mere worldly possessions. Yi Chen glanced at them casually and then ignored them. He looked directly at Qiu Liju, who was sitting on a purple gold chair and looking down at the ground. At this moment, Qiu Liju was holding a long sword in his hand, which was still dripping with blood. At his feet were 13 corpses. One of them was a teenager, while the others were all women. Obviously, they were Qiu Liju's family, but they had all been killed by Qiu Liju. Qiu Liju suddenly raised his head and looked at Yi Chen. He said angrily, "Yi Chen, you have long wanted to rebel. Why did you kill me?" Chapter 230. When Zhao Yun and Zhao Meng heard Qiu Liju's words, they were enraged and shouted, "How dare you!" Yi Chen waved his hand and signaled Zhao Yun and Zhao Meng to be quiet. He then looked at Qiu Liju and sneered. "Rebel? You're right, but so what?" When Qiu Liju heard Yi Chen's blunt words, he was stunned and asked in a low voice, "I've never offended you. Why are you doing this to me?" "Because there are benefits to killing you. Do you understand?" Yi Chen raised his eyebrows and said. Yi Chen's answer was simple and crude. Qiu Liju was stunned again. After a few breaths, Qiu Liju suddenly stood up and shouted angrily, "If you agree to my surrender, you'll get even more benefits. Why? Why are you so vicious?" Yi Chen curled his lips in disdain and said, "Agree to your surrender? If you were Han, I might consider it. Unfortunately, you're not. Don't tell me you'll be loyal. Your so-called loyalty is just a slogan. If I accept you, it won't be long before you rebel again. This is something you outsiders have done for thousands of years. It's been tried and true. Besides, you're all trash. What's the use of keeping you?" As soon as Yi Chen finished speaking, Qiu Liju fell to the ground with a thump. Yi Chen's words had revealed his hidden thoughts. That was indeed his plan. Qiu Liju was silent for a while. Then he looked up at Yi Chen and shouted crazily, "I am Wuhuan Chanyu, the strongest warrior of Wuhuan. Yi Chen, do you dare to fight me bare-handed for 300 rounds? You?" Yi Chen sneered. How could Yi Chen not know what Qiu Liju was thinking? It was a final struggle. The speed of killing someone without a weapon was completely different. At least, that was what Qiu Liju thought. Therefore, he told Yi Chen that he wanted to fight with his bare hands. His goal was to injure Yi Chen before he died, and even kill Yi Chen. Because Yi Chen had a weapon, Qiu Liju didn't have the confidence to face him. Ha ha ha, the great Han Empire's general pacifying north doesn't dare to accept the challenge. Qiu Liju's face twisted as he laughed wildly. His words were filled with mockery. How dare you? Zhao Yun was enraged. He handed his dragon guts spear to Zhao Meng and prepared to kill Qiu Liju. Yi Chen grabbed Zhao Yun's shoulder and patted him, indicating that Zhao Yun should come back. Then he looked up at Qiu Liju and said disdainfully, "That's right? Trash, come at me." After Yi Chen finished speaking, he put away the god-slaying spear. Then, he stretched his neck and stretched his arms and legs. Qiu Liju stood up and tossed his sword aside. Crack! Crack! Qiu Liju stood up and threw his sword aside. Clang! The sword fell to the ground. Qiu Liju glared at Yi Chen and roared, "Yi Chen, don't be so arrogant." However, Yi Chen's trash agitated Qiu Liju. Yi Chen curled his lips in disdain and pointed at Qiu Liju. "Trash! Come here and die. I'm going to kill you." Qiu Liju roared furiously and rushed towards Yi Chen. When he was close to Yi Chen, Qiu Liju threw a punch at Yi Chen's head. Yi Chen didn't even try to dodge. He clenched his right fist and met Qiu Liju's punch. Bang! Yi Chen and Qiu Liju's fists collided. In the next second, crack! Crack! Hundreds of cracking sounds could be heard. Qiu Liju's fist exploded into pieces. His right arm was also smashed into pieces. A pile of minced meat mixed with white bone dregs and blood splattered everywhere. Ouch! Qiu Liju let out a miserable shriek. Yi Chen sneered and kicked Qiu Liju with his right foot. Bang! A loud sound was heard. Qiu Liju arched his body and flew backward. He crashed into the purple gold chair. A creaking sound was heard. Qiu Liju and the purple gold chair crashed into the wall behind him. Bang! A loud sound could be heard. Qiu Liju and the purple gold chair were embedded in the wall. Qiu Liju spat out a mouthful of blood mixed with small pieces of internal organs. Yi Chen looked at Qiu Liju's pitiful appearance and curled his lips in disdain. You, why are you so strong? Qiu Liju struggled to raise his head and looked at Yi Chen. He was unwilling to accept his defeat. At this moment, the madness on Qiu Liju's face and the viciousness in his eyes were gone. All that was left was despair and unwillingness. He had thought it through. As long as he angered Yi Chen and got Yi Chen to agree to a bare-handed duel, he would fight with his life on the line. Even if he couldn't kill Yi Chen, he would bite off a piece of Yi Chen's flesh. But damn, Yi Chen's martial arts were just as monstrous as his spear. Not only were his fists hard, but they were also extremely strong. One punch destroyed his right arm, and one kick crushed his internal organs. He was an emperor-level general with Xiantian true qi protecting his body. Yet, he was kicked to the brink of death. Qiu Liju had thought of everything, but he hadn't expected this. Thus, his heart was bitter. It was so bitter that it reached the depths of his soul. "Because you're too trash," Yi Chen sneered and said. "You?" Qiu Liju's eyes widened, and he leaned against the purple gold chair. His head tilted and he lost all signs of life. Yi Chen curled his lips in disdain. At this moment, the system notification sounded. Ding! Congratulations player Yi Chen for reaching level 98. He broke through the shackles of his body. His Xiantian true qi has condensed into Xiantian true essence. He has reached the mortal evolution state. Ding! Player Yi Chen's body has reached the mortal evolution state. He has reached the requirement to enter the primordial world. Would you like to enter the primordial world? Ding! Notification to player Yi Chen. If you don't enter the primordial world, your body will be sealed. He could still get more benefits here. There was also a god-level village building token. He could ascend to the immortal realm. Why did he have to ascend to the primordial world? Yi Chen curled his lips and made his choice. Don't want to enter. Ding! Player Yi Chen refuses to enter the primordial world. Because his power exceeds the strongest in the novice zone of the three kingdoms, he is sealed until he enters the primordial world. As soon as the system notification ended, a pillar of light appeared and enveloped Yi Chen. 3 seconds later, the pillar of light disappeared. Yi Chen opened his eyes and sensed his body's condition. Damn, his true essence was sealed as well. However, in the novice zone of the three kingdoms, he didn't need to use his true essence at all. His body was at least twice as strong due to his advancement. Even a heaven-grade weapon wouldn't be able to hurt him. Chapter 231. As soon as Yi Chen finished his thought, the system beeped. Ding! Congratulations to player Yi Chen for killing Wuhuan Chanyu and Qiuliju. Due to his special status, he is rewarded with 20 million merit points, 20 million reputation points, and 10 innate attribute points. Ding! Congratulations to player Yi Chen for completing the large-scale mission, conquering the strange races. Calculating the rewards. Ding! Congratulations to player Yi Chen for killing 320 king-level generals, 185 emperor-level generals, 7 emperor-level generals, and 86 million Wuhuan soldiers. Calculating rewards. The system beeped and stopped there. After a few breaths, the world announcement sounded. Ding! Congratulations to player Yi Chen for completing the large-scale mission, conquering the strange races. You are rewarded with 30 million merit points, 30 million reputation points, 120 innate attribute points, 3 recruitment orders, heaven level, 1 special map teleportation scroll, 10 village creation orders, gold, 1 lucky draw, and 5 million purple coins. Ding! Congratulations to player Yi Chen for quelling the Yuzhou rebellion. You are rewarded with 20 million merit points, 30 million reputation points, 10 innate attribute points, 1 recruitment order, heaven level, 3 recruitment orders, heaven level. Ding! Congratulations to player Yi Chen for killing Wuhuan Chanyu and Qiuliju. You are rewarded with 10 innate attribute points. A series of world announcements instantly blew up the entire world channel. Waha! Boss Yi Chen is mighty and domineering. No one can beat him. Damn! I didn't even see a living person. Yi Chen even killed Qiuliju? Damn, what a great reward. There are so many good things. There are only 4 heaven-level recruitment orders. Damn, damn, damn. There's no justice. There's no justice in this world. He killed Wuhuan in one day? Does he have to be so awesome? Waha, Boss Yi Chen did well. Following behind Boss Yi Chen means there's meat to eat. Hee hee, you've also picked up a lot of equipment, right? Me too. I just want to know what that special teleportation scroll is for. We can't give Yi Chen any more benefits. He's already so goddamn heaven-defying. If we give him any more benefits, how will others get along with him? That's right. If we give Yi Chen anything good, the world will become his. You make it sound like you'll surpass Yi Chen if you don't give Boss Yi Chen something good. You're a classic example of envy, jealousy, and hatred. I despise you. Boss Yi Chen, I'm your fan. A diehard fan. Please accept me as your little brother. Big brother Yi Chen, I've just entered the game and don't know anything. Can you help me? Boss Yi Chen, I want to buy a village creation token at a high price. Please contact me. Boss Yi Chen, I want to buy a recruitment token. Price is not a problem. If there are any additional conditions, I'll fulfill all of them. Congratulations to General Pacifying North Yi Chen from Beauty Town for destroying Wuhuan. Also, please give us a chance to meet. Templar Town congratulates General Yi Chen for defeating Wuhuan. Also, I sincerely want to buy something that General Yi Chen doesn't like. The world channel was in chaos. Envy, jealousy, and hatred flooded the screen. Of course, there were also many who wanted to buy things from Yi Chen. Yi Chen glanced at them and stopped paying attention. None of the rewards were things that Yi Chen couldn't use, so Yi Chen wouldn't sell them. Village creation token, gold. Yi Chen would definitely use it when his territory expanded, and he would use a lot of it. Soldier Recruitment Token, Heaven Rank. Once used, 100,000 soldiers would be recruited, and all of them would be at least rank C. When they reached Reincarnation City, they would become rank A and rank B. For Yi Chen, it was even more important. Recruitment Token, Heaven Rank. After using it, one would automatically gain the loyalty of a first-rate historical figure, or even a super first-rate historical figure. It was equally important. Special Map Teleportation Scroll. Once used, one would be teleported to a treasure island that players in his previous life talked about. There were many types of treasure island. Once one entered, one would be able to obtain a large amount of spiritual herbs, or a large amount of high-quality resources, or even skills, weapons, building blueprints, mounts, and so on. It all depended on what type of treasure island one entered, whether it was about resources, spiritual herbs, or mounts. No matter what type of treasure island one entered, as long as one was capable enough, the rewards would definitely be bountiful. After looking at the rewards in the storage space, Yi Chen raised his eyebrows and walked towards Qiuliju, who was embedded in the strong wall. When he got close, Yi Chen waved his right hand and the God Slayer appeared instantly. He then waved it. Sss. Qiuliju's head flew into the air and fell to the ground. Yi Chen grabbed Qiuliju's head with his right hand and put it into the storage space. Qiuliju's head was the key to Yi Chen's success in quelling the rebellion. Without his head, Yi Chen's rewards would be greatly reduced. After putting away Qiuliju's head, Yi Chen also put away the 3 items that Qiuliju had dropped. Before he could look at them, Guo Yi walked in excitedly. "Congratulations, my lord! Congratulations, my lord! After defeating Wu Huan, your name will definitely spread throughout the world. The name of Samsara will also spread throughout the world." Guo Yi bowed as soon as he entered the main hall. Reputation was extremely important in this era. After Yi Chen defeated Wu Huan and killed Qiuliju, the name of Samsara would definitely spread throughout the world. By then, it would attract a large number of people with special abilities. With the addition of these people, Samsara City's foundation would skyrocket. It would not be difficult for it to rise again. This was the main reason for Guo Yi's excitement. The stronger Samsara City was, the happier Guo Yi would be. This was because his lord, Yi Chen, was the ruler of Samsara City. Yi Chen smiled and said, "Feng Shao, the day of Samsara's rise is coming. Are you confident?" Yi Chen's meaning was very simple. When Samsara rose, its territory would expand, its soldiers would increase, and its people would increase. Soon, there would be chaos, and Guo Yi would have more and more things to do. "Jia, I'm confident." Guo Yi smiled when he heard this. Then, he bowed solemnly. "Good." Yi Chen laughed and said. After that, he looked at the entrance of the main hall and ordered, "Pass down my order. After cleaning up the battlefield, come over and tear down this main hall. Take it away." "Yes, my lord." The messenger was stunned for a moment. He hurriedly bowed and ran to pass on Yi Chen's order. "My lord, this main hall is not small." "Why?" Guo Yi asked in confusion. He stopped abruptly and sighed. "I didn't expect that in addition to purple gold, and gems, the main hall was made of high-quality materials. This Wuhuan Chanyu is really extravagant." Yi Chen smiled and said, "It's good that he is extravagant. Without his extravagance, I wouldn't have been able to get so many good things. The Bronze Sparrow Pavilion can be built now." The high-quality materials needed to build the Bronze Sparrow Pavilion could be found in the Great Han Dynasty. However, some of them were very rare even in the Great Han Dynasty. They could not be gathered in such a short time. Now that Yi Chen saw those rare materials in the Wuhuan Palace, he naturally wanted to bring them back to Samsara City. As soon as Yi Chen finished speaking, a soldier ran in and bowed. "My lord, Gongsun Zan wants to see you." Chapter 232. Hearing this, Yi Chen narrowed his eyes and said, "Tell him to come in?" Yes, my lord. The soldier bowed and ran out to summon Gongsun-zan. Yi Chen looked at Gui Yi and asked, Feng Shao, Gongsun-zan has been following us all this time and has not killed a single soldier. Why does he want to see me now? Gui Yi thought for a moment and bowed. My lord, you said that Gongsun-zan is ambitious and ruthless. I don't think he's here just to congratulate you. Yi Chen was silent for a moment and said, Let's see what he chooses. Tap tap, tap tap. At this moment, the sound of footsteps reached the main hall. Yi Chen looked in the direction of the sound and saw Gongsun-zan walking in. This general, Gongsun-zan, greets General Ping Bei. Gongsun-zan hastily bowed when he saw Yi Chen. Brother Gongsun, why do you want to see me? Yi Chen smiled and asked. General, I'm here to congratulate you. Gongsun-zan looked at Qiu Liju's corpse and said, It's just a small matter, what's there to be happy about? Yi Chen laughed out loud. General, you destroyed Wuhuan and killed Qiu Liju. This is a great achievement and your name will soon spread throughout the world. Naturally, I'm here to congratulate you. Gongsun-zan smiled and bowed. Yi Chen raised his eyebrows and asked, Brother Gongsun, are you here just to congratulate me? Gongsun-zan quickly bowed and said, General, I'm here to congratulate you and see if there's anything I can help with. Help? Is there anything else you need help with? I have already slaughtered the entire Wuhuan race, from top to bottom, Yi Chen asked after being slightly stunned. General, with this great victory, His Majesty must be very happy. He probably wants to see Qiu Liju's head right now. General, you also need to clean up the battlefield. Why don't I escort Qiu Liju's head to Luoyang? If that's the case, His Majesty will definitely issue a decree to reward you. Gongsun-zan bowed and said. Gongsun-zan spoke with sincerity, wholeheartedly thinking for Yi Chen. However, Yi Chen narrowed his eyes and a cold light flashed. Brother Gongsun, are you saying that the sooner Qiu Liju's head reaches Luoyang, the higher my reward will be? Yi Chen looked at Gongsun-zan and asked with a chuckle. Hearing this, Gongsun-zan hastily bowed and said, That is precisely the case. General, in this northern expedition to Wuhuan, this general was unable to accomplish anything and feels ashamed. Right now, the only thing this general can do for general is this small matter. I hope that general will agree. This general guarantees that he will arrive at Luoyang within half a day. Yi Chen heard Gongsun-zan's sincere words and couldn't help but smile. He then said, Thank you, Captain. This general. When Gongsun-zan heard this, he was stunned. His expression changed and he hastily spoke, but then he stopped abruptly. Yi Chen's smile had turned into a cold sneer, and his eyes were filled with undisguised killing intent. General! This general has no other intentions. Gongsun-zan's eyes narrowed and he hastily shouted. Gongsun-zan, are you willing to follow me? Yi Chen narrowed his eyes and asked. General, what do you mean? Gongsun-zan's expression changed and he asked. All right, I understand. Yi Chen sighed and then waved his right hand and the God-slayer appeared. He pointed at Gongsun-zan and said indifferently, Show me your weapon. I'll give you a chance. General! Gongsun-zan cried out in alarm. Whoosh! Whoosh! Zhao Yun and Zhao Meng jumped in front of the door and blocked Gongsun-zan's path. Gongsun-zan's expression turned ugly. He then looked at Yi Chen and asked in a deep voice, General, I'm a cavalry officer. General, this general is a great Han cavalry captain. Although my official position is not high, I am still a registered Great Han official. Does General really want to kill me? You're right, I do want to kill you. Yi Chen nodded and said without hiding anything. General, how did this general offend you? Gongsun-zan clenched his fist and asked. Gongsun-zan, you keep saying that you want to help, but in your heart, you want to steal the credit. If Qiu Liju's head is in your hands, no matter what you say, everyone will side with you. Am I right? Yi Chen smiled coldly and asked. General, there's no such thing. This general swears to the heavens that I'm only helping you. If you have any doubts, this general will leave. This general will not tell anyone about today's matter. Gongsun Zan hurriedly said. Helping me? You're my subordinate? Don't joke around. Have you ever seen anyone help others like this? Also, are you that naive? Do you think I'll let you go now? Yi Chen curled his lips in disdain. Gongsun Zan was one of the vassals in history. He controlled Yuzhou and was ambitious. Yi Chen knew this. However, Yi Chen still wanted to see what Gongsun Zan would choose. If Gongsun Zan left directly or came to see Yi Chen and bid him farewell, Yi Chen wouldn't do anything to him. If he chose to follow Yi Chen would be even happier. However, what Yi Chen didn't expect was that Gongsun Zan would actually come here and help Yi Chen, and the task was to escort Qiu Liju's head to Luoyang. It would be fine if Gongsun Zan was Yi Chen's subordinate, but he was not. No matter how nice his words were, they could not hide Gongsun Zan's desire to steal the credit. Because once Yi Chen agreed, Gongsun Zan's plan to kill two birds with one stone would succeed. After all, Qiu Liju's head was in his hands and he was the one who escorted it to Luoyang. When Yi Chen reported his contributions but did not mention Gongsun Zan, Yi Chen would definitely be known as a jealous person. Gongsun Zan, on the other hand, would gain fame and even be promoted. It was because he saw through Gongsun Zan's intentions that Yi Chen's killing intent exploded. Gongsun Zan heard Yi Chen's undisguised words and his expression darkened. He shouted, "General, do you know what crime it is to kill an official of the imperial court without permission? There are no outsiders here. What can I do even if I kill you?" Yi Chen smiled coldly. Killing a lowly yamen runner would be considered a rebellion, let alone an official of the imperial court. Yi Chen was well aware of this. However, Gongsun Zan was the only outsider here. How could he spread the news? This was a rare opportunity, and Yi Chen did not want to miss it. He did not want Gongsun Zan to create trouble for himself in the future. If there was someone to blame, it was Yi Chen's fault. Not only did Gongsun Zan refuse to submit, he even set a trap for Yi Chen. How could Yi Chen let him go? General pacifying North. What a decisive killing. Since that is the case, Gongsun Zan is willing to experience General pacifying North's martial arts. Gongsun Zan's eyes widened and he shouted. Chapter 233. Yi Chen immediately smiled, and then he looked at Zhao Meng and said, "The 3,000 cavalry that General Gongsun brought have sacrificed themselves for the Great Han. Give them a proper burial." "Yes, Your Excellency." Zhao Meng froze for a moment, but then he realized what Yi Chen meant. He bowed and left the hall. "Yi Chen, you are so ruthless." Gongsun Zan was enraged when he heard this. He glared at Yi Chen and roared furiously. Gongsun Zan's sudden outburst was also because Yi Chen's decision had disrupted his plans. If he won a duel with Yi Chen, he could take control of Yi Chen and leave safely. At that time, Yi Chen would be a fish on the chopping board, no matter how he cut him. Yi Chen's foundation, Yi Chen's everything, would become his. Even if he lost and was killed, Gongsun Zan was not afraid. After all, the 3,000 cavalry that he had brought to Wuhuan would inevitably be absorbed into Yi Chen's army. Of course, this was not important. What was important was that some of the 3,000 cavalry were his trusted aides. Once they had the chance, those trusted aides would definitely spread the news of his death. At that time, Yi Chen would not be able to hide it even if he wanted to. If Yi Chen became a traitor, he would definitely be wanted by the imperial court. In the end, Yi Chen would not have a good time and would have to accompany him in the afterlife. This was what Gongsun Zan was thinking. As for Yi Chen killing the 3,000 cavalry, Gongsun Zan had considered it before, but in his view, it was impossible. No one would complain about having too many soldiers. If they wanted to kill someone, they would kill a deputy general, not an ordinary soldier. But Yi Chen's decision had disrupted his plans. Even if the 3,000 cavalry were all his trusted aides, They would not be able to spread the news that Yi Chen had killed him. In other words, if Yi Chen killed Gongsun Zan, it would be a pointless death. No one would know the truth. Those who knew would be loyal to Yi Chen. No one would harm Yi Chen for Gongsun Zan's sake. Gongsun Zan's two plans were instantly discarded. The only path left was to duel with Yi Chen. If he won, everything would go smoothly. If he lost, everything would come to nothing. Compared to you, I'm much more open and aboveboard. Yi Chen glanced at Gongsun Zan and sneered. Then, he spoke. Do you dare give me a weapon? Gongsun Zan. Go and get Gongsun Zan's weapon. Yi Chen shouted as he looked at the door. Lord! My lord! The messenger hurriedly bowed in response before leaving to retrieve Gongsun Zan's weapon. Not long after, the messenger returned and tossed a spear to Gongsun Zan. Gongsun Zan snorted at the impoliteness of the messenger. He grabbed the spear and looked at Yi Chen. General Pingbei, the presence of your subordinates will affect my state of mind. Should I have them leave? Yunjing, Fengshao withdraw. Yi Chen said to Zhao Yun and Guo Yi. Yes, your majesty. My lord. Zhao Yunjing and Guo Yi bowed in unison, then left the hall. Gongsun Zan was taken aback. He hadn't expected Yi Chen to agree so readily. After coming to his senses, Gongsun Zan looked at Yi Chen, his eyes flashing, and said, You're very confident. Yi Chen sneered and pointed the Godslayer at Gongsun Zan. Enough nonsense. Let's fight. Along with Yi Chen's loud shout, an extremely tyrannical murderous aura suddenly burst out. The temperature in the hall instantly plummeted, becoming bone-chillingly cold. Gongsun Zan's expression changed, and he cried out in alarm, How is this possible? Yi Chen's killing intent was so thick that Gongsun Zan's scalp went numb. Gongsun Zan even had the misconception that Yi Chen was a grim reaper who had walked out of a mountain of corpses and seas of bones, ruthless and merciless. Die! Yi Chen's eyes widened, a cold glint flashing in them. He roared and stomped his right foot on the ground. Bang! A loud sound was heard. The ground cracked as Yi Chen leaped into the air, the god-slaying spear in his right hand smashing viciously toward Gongsun Zan. Gongsun Zan had already come to his senses when Yi Chen roared. However, when he saw that Yi Chen didn't even use his Xiantian True Qi and rushed over, he was furious. Damn it, this was a one-on-one fight, and he didn't even use his Xiantian True Qi. This was blatant contempt. He was looking down on Gongsun Zan. At the thought of this, Gongsun Zan's hair stood on end and he roared, You've gone too far. Gongsun Zan thrusted his spear at Yi Chen. With a buzzing sound, a pillar of qi instantly appeared and rushed towards Yi Chen, who was jumping down from midair. Yi Chen looked at the qi pillar in front of him and smiled coldly. He ignored it and continued to smash the Godslayer at Gongsun Zan. When Gongsun Zan saw this, his angry face suddenly changed. Because Yi Chen ignored his attack. Unless Yi Chen was stupid, there was only one explanation. Yi Chen was not afraid of his attack at all. At this moment, the qi pillar hit Yi Chen. A pop sound was heard. Not only did the qi pillar fail to injure Yi Chen in the slightest, it even dissipated and disappeared without a trace. Oh no! Gongsun Zan's eyes shrank. He wanted to dodge, but he suddenly realized that no matter where he dodged, he would be hit. He was locked on. How can it be? Gongsun Zan was shocked. He quickly put away his spear and went to block Yi Chen's Godslayer. At this moment, the Godslayer smashed over. Clang! A loud sound was heard. The Godslayer bent Gongsun Zan's spear. Crack, crack! Several sounds were heard. Both of Gongsun Zan's arms were shattered by the huge force. White bone fragments mixed with pieces of bright red flesh flew to the ground together with the blood. The Godslayer did not stop for a moment because of Gongsun Zan's arms. Then, it smashed on Gongsun Zan's head. Bang! A loud sound was heard. Gongsun Zan's head was smashed. Red and white blood splashed everywhere. However, the God Slayer did not stop. It continued to smash on Gong Sun Zan's body. Boom! A loud sound was heard. Gong Sun Zan's whole body was smashed into pieces in an instant. Looking at the minced flesh on the ground, Yi Chen curled his lips in disdain. Then, the corners of his mouth curled up. After killing Gong Sun Zan, Yu Zhou will be mine. As soon as Yi Chen finished thinking, the system prompt sounded. Ding! Congratulations to player Yi Chen for killing the first-rate historical general Gong Sun Zan. Because of his special identity, player Yi Chen can choose 2 of the 3 rewards. 1 Luck. 2 Class Change Order of the Special Forces, White Horse. 3 Soul of a first-rate historical general. Hearing the system prompt, Yi Chen was slightly surprised. He did not expect to get an unexpected reward after killing Gong Sun Zan. Glancing at the 3 rewards, Yi Chen made his choice. 1 and 2. Ding! Congratulations to player Yi Chen. Samsara City has obtained all of Gong Sun Zan's luck. Samsara City's luck has increased. Ding! Congratulations to player Yi Chen. You have obtained Class Change Order of the Special Forces, White Horse, 1 and only. Chapter 234. Yi Chen was taken aback by the system's notification. He didn't expect that the fate he obtained from killing Gong Sun Zan would be absorbed by Samsara City. I am the Lord of Samsara City. If Samsara City's fate becomes stronger, my fate will become stronger as well. Gong Sun Zan had a special identity. He was one of the heroes of the late Han Dynasty. This meant that the heroes of the late Han Dynasty all had fate on them. After killing him, Samsara City's fate would increase again. Holy shit! I can't let any of the heroes of the late Han Dynasty go. Thinking up to this point, Yi Chen's eyes suddenly opened wide as a bright light flashed through them. After that, he waved his right hand and an ancient token appeared in his hand. At this moment, Zhao Yunjing and Guo Yi walked in from outside. When they saw the ground full of minced meat, bones, and internal organs, they were both stunned. Then, they looked at each other and smiled. Then, they looked at Yi Chen and bowed. Congratulations, Lord. You have defeated Gong Sun Zan. Yi Chen couldn't help but smile. He then said, Gong Sun Zan is quite a character. My lord is right. However, my lord is the best choice. Since he schemed against my lord, he naturally died. Guo Yi nodded and said, My lord's courage is unparalleled. Gong Sun Zan's defeat was justified. Zhao Yun smiled and said. Hearing this, Yi Chen immediately smiled. Then, he looked at Zhao Yunjing and asked, Yunjing, have you made any progress with the 50,000 soldiers you led? When Zhao Yunjing heard this, he hesitated for a moment, then bowed and said, Master, Yunjing wanted to discuss this matter with you, but, feel free to speak. Yi Chen saw Zhao Yunjing's troubled expression and couldn't help but be taken aback. My lord, Yunjing likes the color white. Therefore, I implore my lord to change all of my soldiers to white war horses. Zhao Yunjing looked at Yi Chen with some difficulty, then bowed and said. In Zhao Yun's opinion, this request was too strange. Therefore, Zhao Yun was in a difficult position. However, Zhao Yun had a strange feeling. If the entire army was changed to white war horses, perhaps his 50,000 soldiers would have a chance to become a legion. Yi Chen was stunned when he heard this. Zhao Yun was talking about changing the entire army to white war horses. This was the foundation of the White Horse Righteous Army. At this moment, the White Horse Righteous Army had yet to appear. Its original creator, Gong Sun Zan, had already been killed by Yi Chen. From Yi Chen's point of view, other than using the class change order of the Special Forces, White Horse Righteousness would never appear again. However, no matter how one looked at it, Zhao Yunjing's words were a sign that the White Horse Righteous Consort was about to appear. The White Horse Righteous Army was the only army F***CK. If Zhao Yun brought the White Horse Righteous Army out, wouldn't the White Horse Righteous Army's Righteous Army, only army, Be useless. Thinking of this, Yi Chen directly handed the token in his hand to Zhao Yunjing. Then, he said, "It seems that this is the will of the heavens. Yunjing, this item is fated with you." Zhao Yun was slightly stunned. He took the token and looked at it. He was instantly stunned. Special Army's Righteous Army. Only army, righteous army will follow you in life and death. Heaven can be my witness, the White Horse Righteous Army is my witness. After using it, you can form a special army with a limit of 100,000 soldiers. Army rank, SS basic requirement, white war horses as mounts. My lord, this. After Zhao Yun came back to his senses, he looked at Yi Chen in shock and said, "Don't be surprised, Yunjing. The time has come. The White Horse Righteous Army should appear soon." Yi Chen smiled and said. Zhao Yun heard this and took a deep breath. After exhaling, he bowed solemnly and said, "Thank you for your gift, my lord. Yunjing, even without this, you will still bring out the White Horse Righteous Army. With this, it will only be brought forward." Yi Chen sighed and said, "My lord, that's not the case." Zhao Yun heard this and couldn't help but be stunned. He then said, "Yunjing, why do you say that?" Yi Chen looked at Zhao Yun in confusion and asked, "My lord, with this special army's righteous army and the part that Yunjing has comprehended, the SS rank White Horse Righteous Army will definitely rise by one level." Zhao Yun bowed and explained, "Really?" Yi Chen heard this and his eyes suddenly widened. He then asked, "I can guarantee with my life that it is absolutely true." Zhao Yun said with certainty, "Good. Nice." Upon hearing this, Yi Chen instantly burst out laughing. Damn, the Special Army's class change order and the White Horse Righteous Army's Righteous Army, the only one, were not wasted. An SSS rank Special Army was the best in the beginners area of the Three Kingdoms. With the same equipment, the same number of soldiers, and the same strength, an SSS rank Special Army could crush any low-level army. It would be strange if Yi Chen wasn't happy. "Congratulations, my lord. Congratulations, my lord. Samsara City has gained another powerful army. It's only a matter of time before we conquer the world." Guo Yi looked at Yi Chen with a smile and bowed. Yi Chen laughed. Then, he looked at Zhao Yunjing and said, "Yunjing, we have obtained a large number of war horses this time. To the west of Wuhuan Mountain is the horse farm of the Wuhuan tribe. There are more than 1,000,000 war horses there. Yunjing, you can choose at will and gather 100,000 white horses. If it's not enough, I will send people to buy them when we return to Samsara City. As for the 100,000 soldiers, I will buy more when we return to Samsara City." "Thank you, my lord." Zhao Yun heard this and was overjoyed. He then bowed and thanked Yunjing. "Yunjing, I am waiting for the White Horse Righteous Army to become famous. Are you confident?" Yi Chen nodded and then asked, "Yunjing will do his best to live up to your expectations, my lord." Zhao Yunjing nodded affirmatively, then bowed and said, "Good." Yi Chen laughed and then said. At this moment, Zhao Meng, who was covered in blood, came to the main hall. When he saw Zhao Meng, Yi Chen couldn't help but smile and then asked, "Have you dealt with everything?" "My lord, Gong Sun Zan's 3,000 elite cavalrymen and his deputy have been buried." Zhao Meng heard Yi Chen's question and hurriedly bowed and said. When Yi Chen heard this, he nodded with satisfaction. He waved his right hand and an Emperor-level general's soul appeared in Yi Chen's hand. When he saw the Emperor-level general's soul in Yi Chen's hand, Zhao Meng was stunned. "This is Qiu Liju's general's soul. Use it," Yi Chen said with a smile and then handed the general's soul to Zhao Meng. "My lord." Zhao Meng opened his mouth but didn't know what to say. He was already at the peak of the Emperor level, but he didn't have an Emperor-level cultivation technique. Therefore, he couldn't break through. Originally, he thought that Yi Chen would give him an Emperor-level cultivation technique based on his battle achievement. He didn't expect that Yi Chen would directly give him an Emperor-level general's soul. Moreover, it was Qiu Liju's general's soul. Qiu Liju was a first-rate historical general. Once Zhao Meng used Qiu Liju's general's soul, he would become a first-rate historical general. The title of a historical general and an ordinary general were two completely different concepts. The former could completely crush the latter. Of course, there were exceptions. For example, Yi Chen. Yi Chen had the 9 revolutions mysterious art, a chaotic level cultivation technique. Just this point alone was beyond the scope of a historical general. Otherwise, Yi Chen wouldn't have been able to kill a historical general so easily. Zhao Meng was so excited because he knew the benefits of being a first-rate historical general. "Stop talking nonsense and use it!" Yi Chen glared at Zhao Meng and then shouted. "Yes, my lord." Zhao Meng tried to calm himself down and bowed solemnly. Then, he took Qiu Liju's general's soul and chose to use it. At that moment, a soldier ran in and bowed. He said, "My lord, a horse king was found in the Wuhuan horse farm. It is very strong and has injured thousands of people." Chapter 235. When Yi Chen heard this, he could not help but be stunned. After which, he opened his mouth and asked, "Horse king? Is it that powerful?" "Yes, my lord. That horse king is very strong. It is as fast as lightning and as loud as thunder. It has boundless strength. When it runs, it leaves behind 10 afterimages." When the soldier heard Yi Chen's question, he quickly bowed and said, "Your Majesty, this horse might be Chaoguang, one of the legendary 8 horses. It has 10 afterimages, but Chaoguang doesn't have immense strength and its voice isn't like thunder." Guori said, "Let's go. Let's go take a look." Yi Chen's eyes widened as he spoke. Then, he led Zhao Yunjing, Zhao Meng, and Guo Yi to the horse farm west of the Wuhuan Mountains. When Yi Chen arrived at the horse farm, he immediately saw a golden warhorse. It was tall and sturdy, and it galloped like the wind and as fast as lightning. Its neighs were like thunder, and it left a trail of afterimages behind it. "What breed is this? Chaoguang's bloodline should be." Yi Chen had just thought this when the soldiers in the horse farm rushed over and bowed. "Greetings, Your Majesty." Yi Chen nodded, then looked at the soldiers who were grimacing in pain and asked, "How are your injuries?" "Your Majesty, it's nothing serious. We're just in pain. It seems that the Horse King went easy on us," a soldier hastily replied. "That's right, Your Majesty. Normal people can't even get close to this horse. It attacked us, but it didn't kill us. Otherwise, we would have died without a doubt," another soldier added. When Yi Chen heard this, he nodded and looked at the golden warhorse that had stopped. "This fellow's eyes, is he trying to provoke me?" Yi Chen froze for a moment, then his eyes widened and he stomped his right foot on the ground. Bang! A loud sound was heard. Yi Chen shot forward and charged toward the golden warhorse. Neigh! A thunderous neigh came from the golden warhorse's mouth. A second later, the golden warhorse turned and ran. Yi Chen smirked and sped up again. A horse and a man disappeared into the distance after a few breaths. "What kind of warhorse is this? Amazing!" Zhao Meng said in shock. "I don't know the specifics, but these warhorses must have come here for some reason. Otherwise, the warhorses in this horse farm wouldn't be so scared." Guori shook his head and said. After he finished speaking, he looked at the horses that had stood up again because of the departure of the golden warhorse. Zhao Yun was looking in the direction that Yi Chen had left in as he said in confusion, "This warhorse is very intelligent. I feel that it came here specifically for Master, as if it was testing Master. Yunjing is right. These warhorses are indeed here for our lord. Otherwise, the soldiers here would not have survived." Guori nodded and sighed. "Is this golden warhorse really that strong?" Zhao Meng asked Guori with a puzzled look. Zhao Yun nodded and said, "Big brother, your realm is not high enough, so you can't sense it. This golden warhorse is undoubtedly a Pegasus. It is in a sealed state just like our lord." Hiss! Zhao Meng was stunned when he heard this. Then, He sucked in a breath of cold air and said in surprise, "Doesn't this mean that even a saint-level general might not be able to gain an advantage in front of it and might even be killed by it?" "Indeed. Although it can't use weapons and can only rely on its teeth, head, and hooves to fight, ordinary emperor-level generals can't do anything to it. If a saint-level general is attacked by it, they might not die, but they will definitely be seriously injured," Zhao Yun said with a sigh. 500 miles west of Wuhuan Mountain. In half an hour, Yi Chen chased the golden warhorse and arrived here. It was only now that Yi Chen realized how abnormal this golden warhorse was. Its physical strength was too damn good. After 500 miles, it was still as relaxed as before. It didn't seem to be strenuous at all. If Yi Chen didn't have the foundation of the 9 Revolutions' mysterious art, he really couldn't do anything to this golden warhorse. At the very least, his physical strength couldn't keep up. Just as Yi Chen thought of this, the golden warhorse suddenly turned its head and glanced at Yi Chen. Then, it snorted and gave Yi Chen a contemptuous look. F***ck. Yi Chen was stunned and then shouted, "Little bastard, wait until I catch up with you. See how I'll deal with you." "Nay, nay, nay." The golden warhorse snorted and then farted with a poochie sound. F***ck. The corner of Yi Chen's mouth twitched involuntarily, and then he exerted force again. This time, Yi Chen directly used the reincarnation spear technique on his feet. Boom, boom, boom. Explosions rang out one after another. Every time Yi Chen took a step, a huge pit would be formed on the ground. And the powerful impact directly pushed Yi Chen's speed up again and again. The golden warhorse was stunned when it found that Yi Chen's speed suddenly increased. Then, it turned around and ran wildly. Its speed also increased again and again. F***ck. Yi Chen was stunned when he saw this. No matter how Yi Chen thought about it, he didn't expect that the golden warhorse actually didn't use its full strength. F***ck. I don't believe that your physical strength is better than mine. Thinking of this, Yi Chen continued to chase after the golden warhorse. Not long after, a settlement of foreign tribes appeared in Yi Chen's sight. Xiong knew Yi Chen was slightly stunned. Then, he narrowed his eyes and waved his right hand. The God Slayer immediately appeared in his hand. "Look, what kind of horse is that? It's running so fast, and it's even leaving a trail of afterimages." A cry of surprise suddenly sounded from the Xiongnu settlement. The moment he finished speaking, the group of Xiongnu turned to look at the golden warhorse that was charging towards their settlement. "What a handsome warhorse! It's a precious horse, definitely a precious horse," a Xiongnu man shouted in surprise. "Look, it's leaving a trail of afterimages behind it. Heavens, what kind of speed can leave behind such afterimages?" Another Xiongnu man shouted in surprise. "Quick, catch it! We can't let it escape. As long as we catch it, Prince Yen of the Left will definitely reward us handsomely." Another person shouted. At this moment, another person shouted in surprise, "Look, there's a person behind the golden warhorse." Following this cry of surprise, the Xiongnu people all turned to look at Yi Chen, who was madly chasing after the golden warhorse. How is this possible? How can he run so fast? Someone's eyes suddenly went blank, and then he shouted in shock. Is he still human? He runs faster than a warhorse. Another person shouted in disbelief. Look at what he's wearing. No. He's not one of us Xiongnu. He's a Han. A loud roar suddenly sounded. What? A Han. He's a Han. Quick, quick, shoot him to death. Following the roar of shooting Yi Chen to death, the Xiongnu people in the settlement all rushed toward the large tent. Not long after, they ran out with bows and arrows. Don't shoot the warhorse. After a loud roar, they immediately drew their bows and shot at Yi Chen. Chapter 236. Nay. The golden warhorse gave a thunderous snort and turned its head to glance at Yi Chen before charging towards the Xiongnu settlement. Yi Chen was stunned when he saw the golden warhorse's actions. Did it understand the Xiongnu people's words and want to use the Xiongnu people to stop me? That's not right. This fellow doesn't seem to have any ill intentions, otherwise, those Samsara soldiers would have all died. The golden warhorse had the ability to transcend light, so it was undoubtedly a Pegasus. In that case, this was its test. With this thought, Yi Chen's eyes widened and a glint flashed across his eyes. Then, he exerted strength in his legs and charged towards the golden warhorse. Bang, bang, bang! Huge craters appeared one after another behind Yi Chen. Shoot him to death! A loud roar rang out. In the next second, countless sounds of something breaking through the air rang out. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh! Tens of thousands of arrows instantly shot towards Yi Chen. Yi Chen looked at the incoming arrows and curled his lips in disdain. He didn't change his direction at all, nor did he make any movements to dodge. Is this Han an idiot? A Xiongnu person couldn't help but ask when he saw Yi Chen not dodging the incoming arrows. Ha ha ha, he's not an idiot. He's just scared silly. With so many arrows, he'll be shot no matter where he runs. He'll definitely die. Another person laughed heartily. How strange, why would a Han man charge here alone? He's probably a Han general and chased the golden warhorse here. Heh. What he didn't expect is that the golden warhorse can only belong to us Xiongnu people. Ha ha ha, savage laughter rang out from the Xiongnu people's mouth. At this moment, dang 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 sounds of collisions rang out. Without exception, all the arrows shot towards Yi Chen had their arrowheads destroyed and were sent flying. How is this possible? Someone's eyes widened in shock as he shouted. He's not wearing any armor. How could he have such a strong physical body? One of them stuttered. Is he a god? Someone suddenly thought of something and then shouted in surprise. Tap tap tap, tap 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 tap. At this moment, the golden warhorse charged past the Xiongnu people. The Xiongnu people who had already grabbed the ropes and were ready to catch the golden warhorse turned a blind eye. This was because they were shocked by Yi Chen's freakish physical body. Yi Chen glanced at the astonished Xiongnu people, smiled coldly, and leaped up. In midair, Yi Chen raised the Godslayer in his right hand. The moment Yi Chen landed in the midst of the Hun people, the Godslayer came crashing down. Boom! A loud sound was heard. The earth instantly trembled. Bang, bang, bang! The sound of 3 bodies exploding could be heard. The bodies of the 3 Huns who had been hit by the Godslayer instantly exploded, and broken limbs flew everywhere. Woo, woo, woo! Hundreds of air-piercing sounds could be heard. More than 300 Xiongnu people were sent flying. In midair, they spat out blood and died before they hit the ground. Yi Chen could not use vital essence, but the reincarnation spear art did not need vital essence. Similarly, the strength of his physical body did not need vital essence. The pure physical strength, together with the reincarnation spear art, was not inferior to the attack when he used vital essence. Because Yi Chen's physical strength was too strong, and because the reincarnation spear art was too overbearing, more than 300 Xiongnu people were shaken to death. Wow! The Xiongnu people were all stunned on the spot. Yi Chen's attack was too ferocious. He killed more than 300 people with one strike. This was something that none of the Xiongnu people present had expected. How could he? What realm is he? One of them screamed. This is pure brute force. How strong is he? Another person said in disbelief. When Yi Chen heard the shocked words of the Xiongnu people, he curled his lips in disdain. Then, he stomped on the ground with his right foot and charged toward the golden warhorse. Along the way, all the Xiongnu people who stood in front of Yi Chen were smashed to death by Yi Chen's spear. Bang, bang, bang! In a few breaths' time, more than 500 Xiongnu people had been smashed to death by the Godslayer. There were too many Xiongnu people, and Yi Chen charged directly into the crowd. Those Xiongnu people who had regained their senses and wanted to distance themselves from Yi Chen could not run fast enough. There was only one outcome if they did not run fast enough, and that was to be smashed to death by the Godslayer. Run! A scream was heard. The Xiongnu people turned around and ran. However, those on the outside ran fast, but those on the inside were blocked. Get out of the way! Get out of the way! Bang bang bang! Damn it, get out of the way! Bang bang bang! The sounds of bodies exploding rang out one after another, one after another. Nay, nay, nay! A thunderous neigh was heard again. The golden warhorse glanced at Yi Chen, grinned, and charged forward. Damn it, you still want to test me? When Yi Chen saw that the golden warhorse had started to run wildly again, the corners of his mouth twitched involuntarily. Test me, no matter how you test me, you will always be mine. After thinking, Yi Chen swung his spear and smashed a group of Xiongnu people into pieces. Then, he stomped his feet on the ground. Bang! A loud sound was heard. Yi Chen leaped into the air. When Yi Chen landed, he was already 100 meters away, outside the Xiongnu settlement. Then, he started to run wildly again. Deep pits appeared in the ground one after another behind Yi Chen. After Yi Chen left, the Xiongnu settlement turned into a mess. Severed limbs and round heads littered the place. Fresh blood, organs, and intestines were scattered everywhere. Damn it, where did this pervert come from? A Xiongnu person shouted in horror when he saw the broken corpses on the ground and the tent that was dyed red with blood. Who the F***ck knows that this pervert is so strong even though his arrows are useless? That spear of his, anyone who touches it will die. Even if it grazes it, they will die. Furthermore, they will all die in pieces. He is a Han, but when did the Han dynasty have such an awesome person? If we meet him in the future, no matter how many people we have, it won't be enough to kill. If we meet him again, damn it, let's just pray that he doesn't come looking for trouble with us. Didn't you see that he came here alone? He came here chasing the golden warhorse. I don't think he came here on purpose. I'm afraid that he came here on purpose and saw the golden warhorse by chance. Otherwise, we Xiongnu people will be in trouble. He's too perverted. Our leader is an emperor-level general, but he killed him in one blow. I hope we never meet him in the future. I say, did you see where he went? Oh no, Prince Xian of the left is in the direction he went. Chapter 237. A Xiongnu soldier's eyes lit up as he shouted, "What's so bad about that? The virtuous prince of the left has countless valiant generals, including 10 emperor-level generals. If he goes, he will definitely be stopped and might even be killed by the virtuous prince of the left." That's right. Our leader was an emperor-level general, but he was killed by him. However, an emperor-level general only needs a few moves to kill an emperor-level general, not to mention 10 emperor-level generals. Bang bang bang! Huge craters appeared one after another behind Yi Chen. If someone measured them, they would immediately discover that the distance between any two craters was at least 100 meters. To put it simply, Yi Chen's speed had reached a terrifying level. He could cover 100 meters with each step. Yi Chen was extremely fast, but the golden warhorse wasn't slow either. One man and one horse galloped into the distance. Time trickled by. When a large tent appeared in the distance, Yi Chen narrowed his eyes. There were many tents densely packed together, and one of them was extremely large and extravagant. It was obvious that this was a huge settlement of the Xiongnu people, and the leader here had to be a member of the Xiongnu royal family. Who could it be? Yi Chen had just thought of this when the golden warhorse actually charged straight for the Xiongnu settlement without changing direction. This fellow really wasn't afraid of death. Although the Xiongnu settlement didn't have as many soldiers as the Xiongnu royal court, it wasn't a place that could be easily crushed. If one used the Wuhuan tribe as a comparison, the Xiongnu people were dozens of times stronger than the Wuhuan tribe. Therefore, there were definitely many emperor-level generals in the Xiongnu settlement before them. This was also why Yi Chen sighed when he saw the Golden Warhorse charge straight for the Xiongnu settlement. The Golden Warhorse was very strong, so strong that it could fight bare-handed against a Saint-level general. However, that was only if the opponent's weapon didn't hit the Golden Warhorse. If the Xiongnu people were determined to kill the Golden Warhorse, it wouldn't be able to show off. The Golden Warhorse didn't have a freakish physical body like Yi Chen's. Even if it wasn't afraid of arrows, it couldn't ignore the weapons of the Emperor-level generals. Of course, the Golden Warhorse wouldn't necessarily be afraid of 1 or 2 Emperor-level generals. It was extremely fast and abnormally nimble. However, if there were too many Emperor-level generals, the Golden Warhorse would be injured or even killed, no matter how fast and nimble it was. At the Xiongnu settlement. Look, that Golden Warhorse. What a horse! A Xiongnu. Where? A BMW. That's definitely a BMW. Look at its speed. Look at his physique, tall and strong. Haha, quick. Prepare the ropes. Grab the Golden Warhorse. Look, there's a person behind it. Such speed. This person is a warrior. Haha, I never thought that our Xiongnu tribe would have such a powerful warrior. Whose subordinate could he be? He's him. He's a Han. That can't be. When did a Han become so bold? He actually dared to come here alone? He's really a Han. Go. Catch him. We have to catch him. We have to catch that Golden Warhorse too. Go my ass. Didn't you see that Han's speed? He's 100 meters in one step. Are you guys courting death? Go and report to the general. I'll report to the general. You guys grab the Golden Warhorse. If that Han comes close, shoot him to death. Don't let him come in. Yi Chen narrowed his eyes when he saw the reaction of the Xiongnu soldiers. With a wave of his right hand, the Godslayer appeared. Release the arrows. Release the arrows. Be careful not to harm the Golden Warhorse. That's Prince Xian of the Left's mount. A loud roar sounded. Hearing this, Yi Chen's eyes suddenly widened, and an extremely tyrannical murderous aura burst out of his body. Prince Xian of the Left. He didn't expect this to be his territory. Prince Xian of the Left was the person who kidnapped Kai Mei-er in history. Although the trajectory of Kai Mei-er's life had changed because of Yi Chen still wanted to kill this Prince Xian of the Left who kidnapped Kai Mei-er. At this thought, Yi Chen's eyes flashed coldly. At this moment, the sound of something breaking through the air rang out. Whoosh whoosh whoosh, the Xiongnu soldiers started to attack Yi Chen. At this moment, tens of thousands of arrows were fired at Yi Chen. Yi Chen didn't even look at them. He charged at the Golden Warhorse and shouted, "Little Gold, come here!" Nay nay nay, a thunderous neigh came from the Golden Warhorse's mouth. When the Golden Warhorse heard Yi Chen's shout, it was stunned for a moment before turning around to look. If charging into this giant Xiongnu settlement is your test, then I don't think you need to test me. I'm definitely charging into this giant settlement. Yi Chen shouted when he saw the Golden Warhorse turn around. When the Golden Warhorse heard this, it looked at Yi Chen with suspicion in its eyes. It's too dangerous inside. Just watch from the outside. I won't capture you. Yi Chen frowned when he saw the doubtful look in the Golden Warhorse's eyes. Nay nay nay, the Golden Warhorse snorted and stopped. At this moment, tens of thousands of arrows descended. Clang clang clang, dense sounds rang out. The arrows that hit Yi Chen's body were instantly broken and ricocheted away. Pft, 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 the arrows that didn't hit Yi Chen pierced into the ground. How is this possible? Someone exclaimed. He's actually fine. The Xiongnu soldiers were all flabbergasted as they looked at the uninjured Yi Chen, and they instantly burst into an uproar. Yi Chen sneered and then charged into the giant Xiongnu settlement. Yi Chen glanced at the Golden Warhorse as he passed by and then passed by. Yi Chen stomped his foot on the ground near the Xiongnu settlement, causing a loud bang to resound. Yi Chen leaped high into the air, and landed in the midst of the Xiongnu soldiers. The moment he landed, the God-Slayer activated its harvesting mode. Boom boom boom! The sound of bodies exploding rang out. Audacious Han! How dare you kill my Xiongnu warriors? Die! A loud roar suddenly rang out. A Xiongnu Emperor-level general charged at Yi Chen with a weapon in hand. Yi Chen sneered and simply stabbed with the God-Slayer in his right hand. Puchi! The God-Slayer instantly pierced through the Xiongnu Emperor-level general. Bang! The body of the Hun Emperor-level general that Yi Chen had pierced exploded into hundreds of pieces at this moment. Hiss! The sound of people sucking in cold air rang out one after another. How can this be? An Emperor-level general? A general is an Emperor-level general. How can he be killed in a single exchange? Chapter 238. The Xiongnu soldiers were in disbelief. An Emperor-level general had been killed by Yi Chen in a single exchange. This could not have been done without extraordinary martial strength. Yi Chen held the God-Slayer in his right hand as he charged toward Prince Xian of the Left's tent, reaping the lives of the nearby Xiongnu soldiers. Densely packed Xiongnu soldiers swarmed toward Yi Chen. The closer ones used swords and spears, while the further ones used bows and arrows. However, swords and spears could not even get close to Yi Chen. The Xiongnu soldiers who used swords and spears were smashed to pieces by Yi Chen as soon as they got close. Countless pieces of flesh, internal organs, and eerie white bones shot out. The surrounding Xiongnu soldiers were constantly hit by the blood and body parts. Some of them even had body parts hanging off their bodies. The stench of blood began to waft through the air. Swords and spears were useless, but bows and arrows could be used from a distance. The archers among the Xiongnu soldiers were constantly drawing their bows and shooting arrows. However, Yi Chen's performance once again shocked them. He did not dodge or evade. Not only was he unscathed, but he even destroyed the arrows. Arrows were continuously shot towards Yi Chen. Dang, dang, dang. No matter how the Xiongnu soldiers attacked, they were unable to harm Yi Chen at all. The Xiongnu soldiers gradually went from shock to stupefaction. Yi Chen was not wearing armor. He was relying solely on his physical body to move forward. However, it was this physical body that made the Xiongnu soldiers feel despair. Their attacks were useless, and they would die if they got close. How could they continue fighting? Yi Chen glanced at Prince Xian of the Left's tent in the distance, and stomped his right foot on the ground. Bang! A loud sound was heard. The originally flat ground instantly cracked, and then Yi Chen stomped a huge crater into the ground. At this moment, Yi Chen also leaped into the air and rushed forward. Bang! Yi Chen landed heavily on the ground. The God-Slayer smashed down. Boom! Hundreds of Xiongnu soldiers were instantly sent flying backward. They vomited blood and died in midair. The Xiongnu soldiers who had been smashed by the God-Slayer were instantly pulverized. Bang! Yi Chen stomped his left foot on the ground and leaped up again. After landing, the God-Slayer smashed down. Boom! Another few hundred Xiongnu soldiers were sent flying, spitting blood and dying along the way. Yi Chen began to jump again and again. Every time he landed, a large number of Xiongnu soldiers would be killed by Yi Chen. The Xiongnu soldiers who had been directly smashed into pieces by the God-Slayer were still unable to be seen by anyone. However, the Xiongnu soldiers who had been sent flying a dozen meters into the air before spitting out blood and dying were seen by everyone. Not only were they unable to injure Yi Chen, but the Xiongnu soldiers who were attacked by Yi Chen were also dying in droves. Such a pervert caused the Xiongnu soldiers to go from shock to disbelief, and then to panic. Since they couldn't hurt Yi Chen and were constantly being killed by Yi Chen, who would still dare to attack? No one. Boom! Yi Chen landed once more. After sending a large number of Xiongnu soldiers flying, several dozen sonic booms could be heard. 52 Xiongnu generals suddenly leaped up and threw out their scimitars in midair. The sonic booms came from none other than the scimitars. Yi Chen sneered and then leaped up. Without dodging, he took the 52 scimitars head-on and charged at the 52 Xiongnu generals who had landed on the ground. Of the 52 scimitars, the weakest was at the Xian level. Most of them were at the earth level, and there was even one at the heaven level. Just as the Xiongnu generals were wondering why Yi Chen wasn't dodging, Yi Chen's left hand grabbed at the air, leaving behind a series of afterimages. Yi Chen caught the 52 scimitars one after another and put them into his interspatial ring. If it was an ordinary weapon, then it would be fine. However, Yi Chen would not waste a profound grade, earth grade, or even heaven grade weapon. With so many subordinates, he would only have more in the future. To Yi Chen, the more weapons he had, the better. This way, he could use them to reward his subordinate. How can this be? A Xiongnu general exclaimed. What are his hands made of? My scimitar can cut through metal like mud, but he's fine holding it. Damn it, even a heaven-level scimitar was caught by him, but he's not injured. Everyone be careful. There's something wrong with this person. In midair, Yi Chen put away his weapons and sneered as he raised the Godslayer scimitar in his right hand. Scatter! A shout suddenly rang out. Whoosh! 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 The Xiongnu generals immediately leaped away, avoiding the spot where Yi Chen had landed. However, the 10 Xiongnu generals at the very front froze in place, their faces ghastly pale. I've been locked onto. I can't move. Me too. Cries of alarm rang out. At this moment, Yi Chen landed on the ground and stepped on the heads of 2 Xiongnu generals. Bang! Bang! 2 explosive sounds rang out. The heads of the 2 Xiongnu generals that had been stepped on by Yi Chen were instantly crushed. At the same time, their bodies were forcefully stomped into the ground by Yi Chen. Woo! The Godslayer scimitar also smashed down at this moment. Bang! A loud sound was heard and the earth trembled. 3 Xiongnu generals were instantly smashed into pieces, while the other 5 were sent flying by the tremendous force. Puff, puff, puff. 5 sounds rang out. The 5 Xiongnu generals who had been sent flying all spat out large mouthfuls of blood. Bang! 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 When they landed, they struggled for a moment before collapsing to the ground, dead. He's a saint-level general! Someone cried out in alarm. Yi Chen put away his scimitar, glanced at the scattered Xiongnu generals, and curled his lips in disdain. Then, he leaped toward Prince Xian of the left's tent. When he landed, he was already 100 meters away. Yi Chen had no interest in chasing down the Xiongnu generals who had fled far away. Yi Chen only had one target, Prince Xian of the left of the Xiongnu people. If there was anyone to blame, it was Prince Xian of the left who had kidnapped Kai Mei in history. And now, Yi Chen had coincidentally arrived at Prince Xian of the left's territory. It would be inexcusable if he didn't kill Prince Xian of the left. After all, Kai Mei had already become Yi Chen's woman. Not good. A Xiongnu general cried out in alarm. Quick! Protect Prince Xian of the left! A Xiongnu emperor general roared in alarm and fury. Whoosh! 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 Dozens of sonic booms rang out. The Xiongnu generals chased after Yi Chen. Unfortunately, compared to Yi Chen, their speed was like the difference between heaven and earth. They were not on the same level at all. Seeing that he couldn't catch up to Yi Chen, one of the Xiongnu generals was alarmed and hastily roared. All of you attack! Stop him! Do not retreat! Those who retreat will have their entire families reduced to slaves and their cattle, sheep, and war horses confiscated. Another roar rang out. The Xiongnu soldiers were already frightened by Yi Chen's ferocious attacks, and they all retreated. Now that they heard the Xiongnu general's order, their expressions turned ugly. But they had to obey a military order, so they charged forward and blocked Yi Chen's path. But it was useless. No matter how many Xiongnu soldiers there were, they couldn't stop Yi Chen's advance. Bang, bang, bang! Yi Chen leaped up again and again before landing on the ground. The Godslayer smashed down again and again, sending wave after wave of Xiongnu soldiers flying. When Yi Chen arrived in front of Prince Xian of the Left's tent, a man in his 30s walked out of the tent, carrying a spiked club. The moment he saw the man, Yi Chen's eyes widened and he roared, "Die!" Chapter 239. Wu Yichen raised the god-slaying spear and smashed it at the middle-aged man. "How dare you!" The middle-aged man was enraged as he swung his mace towards Yichen's godslayer. Bang! A loud sound rang out. The middle-aged man's originally furious expression froze as he felt an extremely strong force through the mace. That kind of force was too domineering, too brutal, and as heavy as a mountain. It gave him a feeling that he could not resist at all. Right at this moment, two sounds of sizzle, sizzle rang out. The middle-aged man's arms were instantly torn apart by the immense force. Scarlet strips of flesh were exposed on his shoulder, as well as blood vessels and tendons. Zizi fresh blood spurted out. All these changes happened in the blink of an eye. However, the God-Slayer did not stop because of the mace's obstruction. In the instant that the middle-aged man's arms were torn apart, the mace turned into dust and continued to smash towards the middle-aged man. The middle-aged man's pupils constricted as he screamed. No, however. He stopped abruptly after spitting out a word. Bang! A loud sound rang out. The God-Slayer smashed into the middle-aged man's head and shattered his body. Woe! When the Xiongnu soldiers saw this, they were instantly in an uproar. He killed Prince Xian of the Left. What do we do? What do we do? The Chanyu will kill us. We will all be buried together with Prince Xian of the Left. I don't want to die. At this moment, the system's notification rang out. Ding! Congratulations to player Yi Chen for killing Prince Xian of the Left, Ufulu. Due to his special status, he is rewarded with 30 million merit points, 30 million reputation points, and 15 innate attribute points. Hearing the system's notification, Yi Chen raised his eyebrows. Not bad, not bad. Another 15 innate attribute points entered his account. Ding! Player Yi Chen has killed Prince Xian of the Left, Ufuluo, angering the Xiongnu Chanyu. The Samsara faction has become the archenemy of the Xiongnu. Yi Chen was slightly taken aback as he curled his lips in disdain. Archenemy? What a joke! You make it sound like I'm afraid of the Xiongnu. If it wasn't for the fact that it wasn't the right time, I would have led my troops to flatten the Xiongnu people. Just as Yi Chen finished thinking, the world announcement sounded. Ding! Congratulations to player Yi Chen for killing Xiongnu Prince of the Left, Ufulu. Additional reward. Innate attribute points x15, soldier recruitment order, heaven level, x1. As soon as the world announcement appeared, the world channel, which had just calmed down, exploded. F***CK. F***CK. Are you kidding me? Did I hear wrong? Or is there a F***king bug in the game? Yi Chen killed Xiaoliju not too long ago. How did he go to the Xiongnu kingdom and kill Prince Xian of the Left? F***CK. Isn't Yi Chen in Wuhan? Why did he suddenly run to the Xiongnu people? How can they move so fast? Impossible. There's no way Yi Chen could reach the Xiongnu kingdom so quickly. F***CK. He even killed Prince Xian of the Left. This is definitely a bug. System, hurry up and come out. We want compensation. Yes, we want compensation. We want an explanation. If you don't give us an explanation, we won't play anymore. Idiot, no one will stop you if you don't play. How many times has it been? There's still such a retard coming out to show off. Why don't you play it for us to see? Ignore this idiot. This game is so magical and has so many benefits. It's impossible for something to go wrong. This means that Yi Chen really ran to the Xiongnu kingdom and killed Prince Xian of the Left. But how did Yi Chen get there? Although the Xiongnu kingdom isn't far from Wuhan, they can't possibly reach there in such a short time. Even if they did, they can't possibly kill Prince Xian of the Left. The Xiongnu kingdom isn't like Wuhan. They have many more soldiers. I'm King curious about this too. It can't be that Yi Chen rushed to the Xiongnu kingdom alone and killed Prince Xian of the Left, right? I feel like that's the only explanation. CK, but if that's the case, how much of a freak is Yi Chen? Can we still play this game happily? Waha, boss, Yi Chen is awesome. It hasn't been long and he killed Prince Xian of the Left. Are you guys convinced? Templar Town, congratulations to General Pacifying North, Yi Chen, for killing Prince Xian of the Left. Beauty Town, congratulations to General Pacifying North, Yi Chen, for killing Prince Xian of the Left. In addition, Beauty Town sincerely invites General Pacifying North to grace us with your presence. The ladies are ready to welcome you. At the giant Xiongnu settlement, Yi Chen glanced at the world announcement and ignored it. He looked directly at the Xiongnu generals who were charging over. Bang bang bang. Dozens of sounds could be heard. 42 Xiongnu generals jumped up and landed on the ground. They instantly surrounded Yi Chen and pointed their weapons at Yi Chen. You! How dare you kill Prince Xian of the Left? An emperor-level general roared angrily at Yi Chen. So what if I did? Yi Chen smiled coldly and asked. I'll bury you with Prince Xian of the Left. The Xiongnu emperor-level general roared malevolently. You speak as if you can succeed. Yi Chen curled his lips in disdain. Don't worry, you're dead meat. When the Xiongnu emperor-level general heard this, his malevolent face instantly contorted. He opened his mouth and swallowed a pill. The moment he saw the pill, Yi Chen's eyes narrowed. Berserker pill. Berserker pill. Common at the cost of one's life, it greatly increases one's strength. The lowest level is 10 points and the highest is 20 points. In his previous life, the Berserker pill had been popular for a long time. As long as one's strength reached 90 points, after eating it, one would definitely become a saint-level general with 100 points of strength. Its attack power was ferocious and it was loved by many factions. Even though one would definitely die after eating it, in the eyes of these factions, the lives of NPCs were not worth mentioning. As long as it could be used, it didn't matter how many NPCs died. For example, when attacking a city, one could create countless saint-level generals with 100 points of strength in an instant. Normal cities wouldn't be able to defend against them. Some players would even eat the Berserker pill when they were risking their lives. Even when the players later found out that eating the Berserker pill would severely damage one's soul, they would still eat it without hesitation. Just as Yi Chen thought of this, a thunderous neigh sounded. Nay! A golden figure sent the emperor-level general flying after eating the Berserker pill and leaped to Yi Chen's side. It was the Golden Warhorse. Ding! Congratulations, player Yi Chen. The nameless Pegasus wants to recognize you as its master. Do you accept? Yi Chen came here for this Golden Warhorse, and Prince of the Left Virtuous was just on the way. Hearing the notification, Yi Chen made his choice without hesitation. Accept. Ding! Congratulations, player Yi Chen. The nameless Pegasus has recognized you as its master. Nameless Pegasus has the bloodline of all Pegasus. Although it is mixed, it is very pure. Once it recognizes a master, it will never betray. Master, Yi Chen talent, unlimited growth realm, mortal evolution state sealed, technique, learning, specialty, deterrence, emperor mount. Chapter 240. Yi Chen couldn't help but raise his eyebrows when he saw the Pegasus's attribute. Unlimited growth. He didn't expect it to be a Pegasus with unlimited growth. Damn, this feels great. When Yi Chen thought of this, he leaped onto the Golden Warhorse. At this moment, the world announcement sounded again. Ding! Congratulations to player Yi Chen for obtaining a special mount, the Nameless Pegasus. Special reward, 50 million reputation points. The World Channel, which was still flooded with messages, instantly went into an uproar when the world announcement sounded. Damn! Are you kidding me? He just killed Prince Xian of the Left and got himself a Pegasus. Damn, there are Pegasus in the mortal world? This is definitely cheating. There's no justice in this world. Why are all the good things going to Yi Chen? Damn, it's a Pegasus. Yi Chen is already so strong. If he has a Pegasus, wouldn't he be even more awesome? By the way, isn't the Pegasus awesome? Nonsense, the Pegasus doesn't belong to the mortal world. Don't you think it's awesome? Let me say something. Boss Yi Chen, I haven't even reached Wuhuan Mountain yet. How did you get to the Hun tribe? There's so much equipment. Don't lose it all when you respawn. Ha ha ha, we're rich this time. Boss Yi Chen is a good person. Let's not go to the Hun tribe. We'll just stay at Wuhuan Mountain and pick up some trash that Boss Yi Chen doesn't want. The world announcement was very lively. Yi Chen glanced at it and smiled. Envy? It's useless. The nameless Pegasus is mine. At this moment there was a violent cough. Cough, 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 cough. The Hun Emperor-level general who had been sent flying by the Golden Warhorse staggered to his feet and coughed up mouthfuls of blood. His clothes were instantly dyed red. He looked up and glanced at Yi Chen on the Golden Warhorse. Then, he shouted at the Hun tribe generals who had taken out the berserker pills but didn't eat them. What are you all standing there for? Eat the pills. If you don't want Chanyu to enslave your wives and children and take away your cattle and sheep, then take the medicine. If you don't eat it, Chanyu will definitely kill you all and tear you apart. The moment he finished speaking, the Xiongnu generals all paled. Yi Chen curled his lips in disdain. Then, he pressed his legs against the horse's belly. Sigh. A thunderous roar sounded instantly. In the next second, the Golden Warhorse charged forward, leaving behind 10 afterimages. Yi Chen raised his eyebrows. He raised the Godslayer in his right hand and fired a shot at the roaring Emperor-level general. The pupils of the Xiongnu Emperor General shrank. At this moment, a Puchi sound was heard. The Godslayer pierced his head in an instant. Bang! A loud sound was heard. The Xiongnu general's head exploded into pieces. Red and white matter mixed together and splattered everywhere. Under the effects of the berserker pill, the slain Xiongnu general had reached the peak of the saint level, a grand slam of 100 points in martial prowess. Otherwise, he would have been crushed to death by the Golden Warhorse. Unfortunately, before he could display his martial prowess, he was stabbed to death by Yi Chen's spear. The surrounding Xiongnu generals all paled at this sight. They glanced at each other before swallowing the berserker pills in unison. They didn't dare delay. If they did, they would all die. Because Yi Chen was too much of a freak, and because the Golden Warhorse that had just arrived was just as freakish. With these two freaks working together, there was no way for them to survive. Besides, they had come here with the intention of putting their lives on the line. If they fled, the Xiongnu Chanyu would definitely punish them. All sorts of cruel methods would be used on them and their families. They couldn't run. Not only could they not run, but they also had to fight Yi Chen. The prerequisite for this battle was to increase their martial prowess. Otherwise, they would definitely die if they encountered Yi Chen. Therefore, they all chose to use the berserker pill. When the 41 Xiongnu generals swallowed the berserker pill, their faces instantly turned red. The berserker pill was exerting its medicinal power, draining their vitality and increasing their martial prowess. At this moment, the Golden Warhorse also began to gallop. A golden flash flashed by. Atop the Golden Warhorse, Yi Chen couldn't help but raise his eyebrows. Because not only did the Golden Warhorse not slow down because of Yi Chen, it actually became faster and more nimble. This guy didn't use his full strength earlier. At this thought, Yi Chen stabbed the Godslayer in his right hand without hesitation. Puchi! A sound was heard. A Xiongnu general who had just raised his martial prowess to 100 points was instantly pierced through by Yi Chen and sent flying into the air. There was a bang in the air. His body instantly exploded into pieces. Not bad, even easier. The man borrowed the horse's power while the horse supported the man. A good warhorse had a different effect. Nay! A thunderous roar rang out. The golden warhorse snorted, then stopped and turned around to look at the remaining 40 Saint-level generals who had reached 100 points in martial prowess. The horse's eyes were filled with contempt. The 40 Xiongnu generals who had just reached the Saint level were enraged at this sight. Beast! Don't be so arrogant! Kill this Han! Slaughter this beast! Go! We don't have much time! Whoosh whoosh whoosh! A series of sonic booms sounded. The 40 Saint-level Xiongnu generals charged at Yi Chen. Yi Chen smiled coldly, then patted the golden warhorse's head and said, "Don't worry. Little Gold, go. Slaughter them." Nay. The golden warhorse snorted and then charged at the 40 Xiongnu generals. In the blink of an eye, the golden warhorse was in front of the Xiongnu generals. On the warhorse, Yi Chen opened his eyes and thrust out the Godslayer in his right hand. Along the way, the Godslayer split into 2, then from 2 to 3, and in the blink of an eye, it had transformed into over 100 spear images. Poochie, poochie, poochie. Dozens of bang, bang, bang sounds instantly rang out. The Saint-level Xiongnu generals who had been filled with malevolence and killing intent not only failed to attack the golden warhorse, but were also sent flying by it. 100 meters up in the air. Bang bang bang! A series of body explosions rang out. Without exception, the 40 Saint-level Xiongnu generals exploded into countless pieces. Blood, organs, intestines, and bits of flesh fell to the ground. After Yi Chen stabbed the Xiongnu general to death, the golden warhorse had sent the Xiongnu general flying. In the blink of an eye, it had repeated this action 40 times. Yi Chen threw his head back and howled with laughter as he looked at the bloody pieces of flesh in the air. At this moment, Yi Chen finally understood the benefits of a warhorse for a general. The warhorse from before had been an ordinary warhorse, but now that he had switched to a golden warhorse, he could kill even faster and save even more energy. Yi Chen only needed to focus on attacking. Not bad, not bad, this time's harvest wasn't small. With this thought, Yi Chen patted the golden warhorse's head. In the next second, the golden warhorse Xiao Jin ran around in a circle, while Yi Chen casually picked up the items that dropped from the ground. These were all items dropped by the generals, and some of them were even from Prince Xian of the left. Yi Chen wouldn't waste them. After collecting the spoils, Yi Chen smirked and said, "Let's go back." Nay. A thunderous snort rang out. A second later, the golden warhorse turned into a streak of golden light and charged toward Mount Wuhuan. Chapter 241. The dumbfounded Xiongnu soldiers hurriedly dodged when they saw the golden warhorse charging toward them. They didn't have the courage to stop Yi Chen. Yi Chen had already killed Prince Wuxian and all the generals in the camp. They could not harm Yi Chen at all. So, what was there to stop? Even if they did, they would die. Furthermore, they would die without a complete corpse. They might as well get out of the way and let Yi Chen leave. At the foot of Wuhuan Mountain, as soon as Yi Chen arrived, he saw the Samsara soldiers carrying materials all over the mountain. The Wuhuan Royal Palace on Wuhuan Mountain had been completely demolished. Not far away, there was an endless herd of horses and Samsara soldiers guarding it. They had looted everything clean. Thinking of this, Yi Chen couldn't help but smile. Yi Chen had gained a lot from this trip to Wuhuan Mountain. Naturally, he was in a very good mood. At this moment, Guoyi, Zhao Yun, and Zhao Meng rode to Yi Chen's side. They dismounted and bowed. "Congratulations, my lord. You have the Pegasus following you." Yi Chen laughed and said, "I'm really lucky to have Little Gold following me. Otherwise, I wouldn't have found a Pegasus in this world." Nay. A thunderous roar rang out. The golden Pegasus, Little Gold, raised its head and snorted. No matter how one looked at it, it was a little proud, as if it was saying that it was the most awesome warhorse in the world. Seeing the golden warhorse's funny behavior, Yi Chen couldn't help but smile. Then, he looked at Guo Yi and asked, "Are you done?" My lord, I'm done. I can set off for Samsara city at any time. Guo nodded with a smile and said, Very good. Although I haven't been out for long, I've done a lot. It's time to go back. Yi Chen laughed and said, My lord, there are many corpses on Wuhuan Mountain. Should we deal with them? Guo hurriedly asked. When Yi Chen heard this, he couldn't help but be surprised. Then, he understood Guo Yi's meaning. If there were many corpses, it would be easy for a plague to appear. Samsara city was in Yuzhou, not far from here. If a plague appeared here, it was likely to spread to Yuzhou and affect Samsara city. Thinking of this, Yi Chen looked at the messenger who had just run over and ordered, Pass down the order. Set the mountain on fire. Yes, my lord. The messenger hurriedly bowed in response before running off to relay Yi Chen's orders. Not long after, the entire Wuhuan mountain was on fire. The fire grew stronger and stronger until the entire Wuhuan mountain was surrounded by flames. Yi Chen glanced at the burning Wuhuan mountain and shouted, Pass down the order. Return to Samsara city. Yes, my lord. The messenger hurriedly bowed in response before running off to relay Yi Chen's orders. Not long after, the army set off for Yuzhou. Yi Chen led the army of Samsara city and more than 2 million war horses. Even in the vast grassland, it was difficult for them to hide their tracks. Soon, the news of Yi Chen's return to Samsara city appeared in the world. Ha ha ha, I saw boss Yi Chen. Damn, he was in Xiongnu and now he's back to Wuhuan. Damn. I guessed right. Yi Chen definitely went to Xiongnu alone and killed Prince Xian of the Left. Absolutely. Leading an army and going alone are two completely different concepts. But then again, Yi Chen is too abnormal. He went to Xiongnu alone and killed Prince Xian of the Left. Who would dare to fight with him in the future? What I'm thinking is what will happen if Abu encounters Yi Chen. Abu is the strongest warrior in history. It should be a draw, right? Impossible. Yi Chen went to Xiongnu alone. Why don't you ask Abu to do the same? Ha ha ha, stop guessing. Boss Yi Chen is the most amazing. Yi Chen couldn't help but raise his eyebrows when he saw the Lively World channel. Abu's martial power had reached 100 points. This was for sure. Moreover, his martial technique was skilled and of a high grade. If Abu had the red hair, it was possible for him to go to Xiongnu alone, but he would definitely be injured. This was because he didn't have a freakish body like Yi Chen. If Yi Chen and Abu were to fight, Yi Chen wouldn't be able to instantly kill Abu like he could instantly kill an emperor-level general, or even a saint-level general who had eaten a berserker pill. Super-historical generals, especially those with the strongest combat power, weren't that simple. Of course, if Yi Chen's seal was lifted, Abu would be killed instantly. Unfortunately, the novice zone of the Three Kingdoms didn't allow mortal evolution state and above. However, physical strength wasn't restricted. If there was a ranking of the novice zone's combat power, Yi Chen would definitely be first. There was no doubt about it. Berserk power, freakish body, and a freakish Pegasus that didn't ascend like Yi Chen and stayed in the novice zone of the Three Kingdoms. Even if there were 2 more Abus, they would cry. Abu should be following Ding Yuan now. Once the Golden Turban Rebellion started, Abu's life path would start to change. At that time, all the famous people in history would come out. Thinking of this, Yi Chen narrowed his eyes, and a bright light flashed in them. Lord, is there something on your mind? Guo Yi, who was riding beside Yi Chen, saw Yi Chen's expression and couldn't help but ask. When Yi Chen heard Guo Yi's question, he couldn't help but smile and sigh. Fengshao, the time is right. There are still too few people in Samsara that can be used. When Guo Yi heard this, he quickly bowed and said, Don't worry, Lord. This time, Lord defeated Wuhuan. Your name will definitely spread throughout the world. At that time, there will definitely be a large number of capable people coming to join you. Lord, you only need to choose people that you can use. There would definitely be capable people coming to join him, But Yi Chen was only General Pingbei at the moment. Those capable people, such as Guan Yu, Zhang Fei, Pang Tong, and Liang Fulong, might not necessarily come to join Yi Chen. Yi Chen needed to take the initiative to contact them or meet them by chance. This was also the main reason why Yi Chen sighed. When he went to Luoyang and met with Lu Hong, he would have to look around. If he didn't, the historical officials and generals would have to come out of retirement and join someone else. When he thought of this, Yi Chen smiled and said, "Feng Xiao, I have a mission for you." Guo Yi was slightly taken aback when he heard this. He then asked, "Lord, what is the mission?" Yi Chen raised his eyebrows and then said, "Choose 100,000 treasures from Li Tianqiu's corpse. Choose 100 carriages of gold, silver, and jewels. Bring Qiu Liju's head to Luoyang and present it to His Majesty. As for the battle report, write it when you arrive at Luoyang. In addition, choose 10 chests of rare treasures and a chest of purple coins from the spoils of war. If you secretly send someone to send money to Zhongli, you don't have to worry about others suspecting you. After all, Lord has always been a maverick and doesn't belong to either side. But sending so much money to His Majesty is a bit wasteful," Guo Yi said after a slight pause. "Ha ha ha, Feng Xiao, you haven't entered the imperial court and don't understand His Majesty. Otherwise you wouldn't say that," Yi Chen said with a laugh. "You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.